Pretty crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, the crossover is powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Stories of junior college cities in Iowa.
What do you want to know?
So
where's
cities is a strong word.
Was it
also true.
Orange? Where's Indian Hills?
Oh, that's out there.
Ottumwa, right?
Is it
Crack
Ottumwa?
of America?
Is it Ottumwa?
I thought it was like Orange.
Oskaloosa.
Yeah, it's Ottumwa.
Is
Is
it
it
Ottumwa?
Okay, that's Indian Hills.
That's way it.
They used to
Now-
have a baseball wagon there.
Well, I think.
Oh
they,
yeah.
They were good.
This is Albert Pujols, right?
Yep.
Albert Pujols.
Well, they're an athletic powerhouse in basketball, and
Basketball,
baseball.
yeah, that's what I
Like
remember.
basketball is their big sport.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that they've had it, and I believe still have it going for baseball. Pretty good.
There was always a story when I was playing at Southwestern Community College that there was that we would run everywhere. I was just telling Gary, we would run up to the high school and back in Creston. And you'd run around. There's a cornfield back behind our baseball field. And in the middle of the field, there was a stake, put in the ground, just a stake. Looks like it's probably holds up a winter fence or something like that. It's a stake in the ground. And we'd always stop there and somebody would say, this is where Albert Pujols hit a home run to.
Oh, they commemorated it, huh?
It was at least 800 feet away from home plate. I go, no, it's not. We can keep running now.
This is a myth.
But it's cool that Albert Pujols hit a home run here. That's
It's like the Ted Williams 500-foot home run at what is that, Fenway or Wrigley?
Yeah. Well, they have the seat up there, right?
Yeah.
Well, then they have it's not Snoopy's World anymore. Whatever the amusement park
Camp
is.
Snoopy.
Camp Snoopy. They have
At the Mall of America.
The Harmon Killebrew
Yeah,
seat.
yeah,
It'll
It's up on the
always be
wall.
Camp Snoopy.
That's up there by the log ride, my favorite ride.
Oh, I forgot. You love Mall of America.
Love the Mall of America.
Yep, you love a
right
good
by
mall.
Bubba Gum Strip.
You just love a good mall.
I do.
Just because you came back from there, what is the best and worst city in Kansas in the Jayhawk League?
Dear God.
I'm going to assume Independence is not. It's not high on your list.
The worst is a tie between Garden City and Dodge City. They're both as the same amount of desolate. Garden City smells a little worse.
That's tiebreaker.
The best is Highland because it's so close.
What about Butler?
Butler has a beautiful facility.
Yeah.
It is, but also just outside of that beautiful facility is the I don't know if they're oil derricks or fracking or like.
Okay.
So it's this beautiful facility, and then you can clearly see why it's so.
Why they have a
beautiful.
facility? Yes, all that money coming in.
That's cool.
We've been through Independence. It just seemed like a very, very small town. Didn't seem like anything too crazy. But yeah, so I had friends that went to Garden City, played baseball there, and we went visit them once. There's nothing there.
Hey, that's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing there. And just getting there was quite the journey.
Miserable.
Yeah.
So Iowa Western athletics hasn't been around for a long time.
It is not.
Why did Metro Community College never have athletics?
It's a good
It
question.
would seem like that would make sense.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Just take the Omaha overflow.
You don't have to play football,
Yeah,
but
right.
but
Yeah,
everything
baseball,
but
basketball.
football.
Yeah.
basketball.
Not yet. Well, maybe it'd be too powerful.
The Elkhorn
It-
campus, you could have just played right there at Sandlot Ridge when that was a thing right there.
Damn.
See?
Maybe, but it'd be too powerful because the kids go to Iowa Western, they go to Southeast.
But there's restrictions on.
They go to the one in
There
Columbus.
are some restrictions on how
But
many.
see, Central doesn't have
Nebraskans-
baseball.
How many
Yeah,
out of state
they have
or
basketball.
Nebraskans you can have at Iowa Western on a roster?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Northeast
Northeast is in
got baseball.
Yes.
in
yeah,
Norfolk.
Yep. They have
Not
baseball now.
Norfolk. Matt Rule.
Norfolk. He did say Norfolk.
Now, would he have made up
And
for it
Tacoma.
yesterday if he would have gone to Tacoma Herman?
I see. Yeah, he said
If he would have
Tacoma.
started naming co-ops.
he just starts doing co-op. If he goes Bruden, Davenport, Shickley. Oh my gosh! If he would have done that, like he's one of us, guys. Whether you like it or not,
Yeah,
he's
that-
one of us.
He
got
just had to
BS.
say. He just
He
had to
just
say
wrote BS.
Norfolk. Norfolk. Whatever.
I know.
He could have gone with
At
anything.
least he didn't say Kearney.
He could have
It's
said.
like when your drunk buddy goes, "I'm going to jump over that," and you're like, "You don't know. You could jump over that much smaller one right over there." No, I got to go big or go home.
Is that what Matt Rule did at the presser yesterday?
100%.
By going into Norfolk.
That's exactly what he did. You didn't have to do that.
See,
I know he's got Carney in the bag. He knows Carney.
He has that Skyler.
Yeah.
No problem.
But wouldn't that be a move of I'm like all of you? If you just start rattling off just small Nebraska towns.
Yeah, but he didn't have it. He's like, I can hit it over that creek. It's only 320 down the. I only had to fly at 350.
Starts mentioning Lee and Homer and stuff. Like, gosh, man, you are. Well, he's probably been to Homer because he's probably been to Landman.
You know, when John Cook and I went up to Burwell.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, I love you, long time, Matt Rule. Don't like your OC, but I love you.
Yeah. People are not happy with that guy.
Oh, there's Stanton.
Hey.
Yeah, that was slow.
All right. Well, we'll talk about this during the show, obviously, but I thought it was a fine send.
The send
I think you got to send him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when your offense is doing nothing with
you need the spark.
It's like a perfect throw and catch.
Didn't realize Giancarlo Stanton is not necessarily a guy that has more gallop as he goes.
Oh, Giancarlo. It's not Giancarlo's fault.
I told Connor in the hallway, I said it looked like a baby deer learning how to run.
He really doesn't have that gear anymore, does he?
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
All year not to run.
Yeah.
All of a sudden in the biggest game, they're like, come on. But here's
Go
the question.
faster.
I can't go that drop a
I
lot
can't
today,
pull
by the way.
over any further.
That drop has to be played a lot today.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Well, the question would be, so somebody has to do the mashup of Sid Bream coming around to score and Stanton, like the side by side.
He might lap him. That would be a really good one.
The poor Yankees. I feel bad for him.
I sure do.
Came all this way just to get swept out of the World Series.
Well, I mean, things would be different if they were playing the American League Central in the World Series.
That's true. They would have won that already.
Well, it's very equal though, too. Both fan bases will get 2 home games. That'll be good.
So is this are people going to use this as a narrative of like the American League sucked?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Gary's already been saying because you beat the AL Central. Gary's been talking really bad about our
the National
American League Central.
So
the National League was really good.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the thought process that exists. Like, look at this. The National League.
Not necessarily.
The National League ruled this year.
Because we don't do that like in the NFL.
No, we do not. We
do it in the NBA.
Yeah. Well, haven't we?
Look at this Western Conference.
Haven't we done in the NFL lately though? With the AFC versus the NFC teams?
Kind of. I mean, the NFC is a lot better than the AFC.
Yeah, a little more depth in the AFC.
Yeah.
Between like the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs.
Or I get.
No, it won't.
Sorry,
it just makes your Super Bowl run look even better. That you're the best amongst the best conference.
Another thing with baseball is like what Judge is going through. Like that doesn't change how we look at Judge. Like we don't rattle off rings of players.
If he does it long enough without hitting,
if it becomes
let's say he gets back to now he's got probably a couple more World Series and he still continues to struggle. Maybe
how old's Aaron?
Yeah,
33.
Like Clayton Kershaw was a bum until he wasn't.
Yes,
but he was still going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely,
As Jameis Winston said, you only get one shot.
Like
do not miss
baseball,
your chance to blow.
And I think this is because of the regular season. He is such.
We all need Jameis right now. We just need Jameis right now.
But in baseball, because of the regular season, we don't stand around and go, you know what? Soto's got 1 ring. We don't do that in baseball.
No, and
but we are obsessed in basketball and football when we have GOAT discussions.
For the record, we shouldn't. Right? It's about the body of work. But we kind of do. I mean, like especially in New York. It's kind of a black eye on Judge here.
But that's a New York thing.
It's more of a New York thing.
That's true, but isn't it? It's almost kind of a position thing because, as you mentioned, Kershaw.
People do it with Trout.
Oh, all the time. He's overrated. He's a bust.
Now, Trout has taken it to another level because he's only played 3 playoff games ever.
Yeah.
But lost them all.
The other part
to the Royals.
Isn't it a position conversation as well? Because you brought up Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw, until he had the postseason success, was considered to be let's hold off a little bit. But I feel like any offensive player, anybody like an Aaron Judge is putting up numbers, like especially the power numbers. Don't we tend to overlook the postseason success a little bit more? Unless, like to Josh's point, unless you've been doing it for a long time, like you're in several postseasons and you're coming up 0 or batting a $161.
There's to speak to the longevity part. Like there's very few examples of guys who there are some who are looked at as all-time greats, who don't have some level of postseason success.
Mm-hmm.
But because of baseball, like Gary was saying, like baseball is a regional sport. Like you could be Joe Mauer, never win a single thing,
right,
and still be Joe Mauer.
and
you're loved in Minnesota.
Yeah,
but you're not
Yep.
like you're not one of the baseball all-time greats.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
What is
Joe Mauer probably wouldn't have been anyway.
No, I think so it may be more like in a Mauer case. He had batting title MVP over. They ran into the Yankees during most of his career.
Do people refer to Joe Mauer as the best catcher of all time, or
no,
the best hitting catcher of all time?
No. If he would have stayed in the Metrodome, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because all those little dribblers back up the middle that hit the turf in the dome and went to the outfield, they got cut off behind second base. Like, baseball is, because the rules have changed, like guys that with or without the shift.
Yeah, that changes things a little bit too.
Okay, so I'm looking up Salvi.
Okay, Salvi is an interesting case.
So Salvi is, I think, going to Cooperstown.
I think so too, but I've had to convince people on this. I think should go to Cooperstown.
So we've got the 14, 15, and 24 postseason.
Yep.
Do you know what his batting average is in the postseason?
Oh, it can't be more than 220.
You're close, 229.
He swings at everything, Gary. but World Series MVP.
Yeah.
Walk-off hit in the wild card game, the greatest game in franchise history. Roberto Clemente Award yesterday. He's got these little things, He's got these little like milestones throughout his career where the numbers don't look incredible. The longevity is going to look really good, obviously, but the numbers don't look like, oh, okay, this is a pretty good player. Also, he plays the right position, right? He's a catcher.
Yes. Yep.
And he's played that his entire career.
Yes.
Like Mauer moved to first base at the end of his career.
But he's got these things. He's got a World Series. He's got a World Series MVP. He's got that. He's got this award. He led the league in home runs once. Like just a couple little, he wins a Gold Glove every year, whether that's deserved or not. He was winning Gold Gloves every year.
Okay, so here in this discussion, because he's one of your guys, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie?
Yeah, Freddie is Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to win another ring, right?
I mean, he will. He's going to.
I think he became a Hall of Famer with the Grand Slam Friday night.
So wait, you're saying if they blow a 3-0 lead, is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, like, is he in the Hall of Fame now? He doesn't need another.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most accomplished active players that we have, right?
Yeah.
He was on the fringe when he was in Atlanta, when he left Atlanta.
Freddie Freeman is your all-time active hits leader at the moment.
I mean, he's a 300. I think he's a Hall of Famer before.
He's only 34.
Yeah.
He's breaking down a little bit, but he's only 34.
Well, his rookie season in Atlanta was 2011.
That sounds. I feel like he's been around.
10.
Gosh,
he played 20 games in 10.
Okay.
So his full rookie season was 11. He was second in Rookie of the Year voting.
That's crazy.
Who did he lose to? NL Rookie of the Year. Craig Kimbrell.
Ah,
his teammate.
That guy.
Weirdo.
That would intimidate you, though, Josh. If you're in the batter's box and you saw that arm just dangling.
Rookie of the Year
When's he
voting.
going to throw it?
Rookie of the Year voting over the years is pretty funny.
Okay, so here,
some of these names are hilarious.
Let's throw some college football into this about the Ring Society. And if Turner Gill had a national championship, would Turner Gill be in the top 3 all-time quarterbacks at Nebraska?
Well,
I think he should. I think he should.
He already is, right?
But yeah, there'd be no debating it.
Yeah.
It'd be him and Tommy.
Absolutely.
But there are people that will slide Steve Taylor ahead of Turner Gill in some of these discussions.
Yeah.
Or will give Scott Frost more of a benefit because he has a ring.
Yeah.
But if you go inside just playing quarterback and numbers, you're like,
okay, so that's insane. Scott Frost is not one of the best 3 quarterbacks in school history.
No. But yes, it depends on the crowd you're talking to. The ones that are the national championship. Oh, he led us to a national title. And and part of it, he
had a great speech.
He didn't Trent Dilfer it either. Like, he was active amongst it. He did things.
Yeah, he was good.
You know, he shot put a football into the end zone against Missouri.
Nice catch, Matt.
Yes, it was a very good catch by Matt Davidson. But yeah,
at least a share.
There are people though that will take the national championship and they'll say, well, how could you not have him? He led us to a national championship. So,
there's a balance. There's there's an XY axis, right? Like the higher you go on the stats, you know, the more likely you're going to be to beat the person if you don't have the rings, you know, or the hardware to go behind it.
I would.
There's a line there. There's a graph.
I would definitely agree with that.
I don't know what it is,
but I think to Gary's point, I don't think there's any debating of Turner Gill if he has a national championship, then he's considered to be him and Tommy.
How many Hall of Famers in baseball do we have active right now? I feel like we've had.
So Jason Stark wrote an article. He thinks there's 8 Hall of Famers playing in the World Series right now.
Holy smokes!
Wow.
Holy smokes! Okay, so wow, really?
Yep.
Okay, can we count them out? What's he talking about?
So
we got
Freeman,
Ohtani, Freeman,
Judd,
Kershaw. Who was that?
Betts, Kershaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that's the 4 on the Dodgers.
Yep. Judge.
And he's got Judge. He's thinking he has Cole on that list.
Cole,
what
Soto.
Soto. Yeah, Soto.
And then I think he has.
There's one more.
He might have Stanton.
Which
I vehemently disagree with.
Verdugo.
But he did it in New York.
Gleyber Torres.
I don't think so.
That guy that is
Volpe?
definitely a cop.
Volpe. Yeah, Volpe's a Hall of Famer.
Who's that guy? Every time he comes to the plate, I'm like, that guy's a co-op.
What?
I need the Yankees lineup.
His
name's like Mike Hill or something.
Tim Hill?
Maybe.
Tim Hill's a relief pitcher. He doesn't come to the plate.
He's a co-op.
He's in the lineup.
Tim Hill is a former Kansas City Royal.
That's exactly right, Gary. And he should have pitched in game 1 at the end.
Why is this so hard to find?
Giancarlo Stanton has 429 career home runs.
Austin Wells is a cop.
Oh, Wells because of the stash.
Is Austin Wells a cop?
Because of the mustache.
What did you say about Stanton?
Giancarlo Stanton has 429 career home runs. He's 34 years old.
So that's his 4.
He needs 71 more regular season home runs.
God, he was
500.
He was on a freaking
that does not
tear
feel
for
like
a long
he's
time.
a 500.
And you know what? Give him
guy.
credit. Unlike the rest of his teammates, his postseason success has actually been somewhat sustained. He had 2 hits last night when the rest of the team at one point only had 2.
So Giancarlo Stanton has an MVP. He led the league in homers twice. He hit 59 in 2017. He'll hit at least 450 career home runs, maybe 500. That'd be a little bit of a stretch, but possibly 500 home runs. And did play for the New York Yankees and make a World Series.
If they won this World Series, because a lot of the postseason success that he's had in this, just overall in both the DS and CS and then World Series, I mean, he's not been bad.
Talk about a quiet
that would be huge for
pursuit
him.
of 500.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
5 All-Star games.
He hasn't been healthy continuously.
Right.
And then Judge's emergence.
Now he's been overshadowed by Judge.
Yeah.
100%.
But that's you just prepare your plaque for Cooperstown when you
he
hit 500.
falls a little short of the Hall of Fame worthy metrics at the moment. He still has a couple years left in his career, obviously.
God, to keep a guy that hit 450 home runs out of Cooperstown.
We have a couple of those, obviously.
What does he what do you have? Probably 2 or 3 years left?
He's 34.
We've been watching what's it called? The Comeback on Netflix.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm watching it with my wife because I'm familiar with the story.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty good.
She has fallen in love with
Millar.
Kevin Millar.
Yeah, how can you?
Of course.
With Kevin Millar. They hit a home run, pun intended, by having him be a big part of this. And I won't spoil it, but
interesting.
When they get to the
I think you can spoil it.
Well, no. Okay, they do.
Dan Shaughnessy?
I'm only through 2 of the 3 episodes.
Okay, so in the 3rd episode, towards the end, there's a moment where your sports fandom, but the human element, you probably understand. The guy who gave up the home run to Aaron Boone, they do go in on that a little bit in the 3rd.
Tim Wakefield?
One. It's Wakefield, yeah. It's pretty good.
No, that was at the end of
that was 3rd one.
No, because I've seen it. Because I remember they showed the video where he's like, "I'm sorry, guys."
Oh yeah. No. So the third one as they're wrapping everything up.
Oh, okay.
Because he had already passed away when they're interviewing everybody.
That's right.
So Veritek said something, and you're just kind of like, for a moment, you're like, okay, that got me too.
I have a couple 450 career home run hitters who are not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Adam Dunn.
Okay.
462.
It's appropriate.
Jose Canseco.
Makes sense.
Cheat of the game.
Probably not a Hall of Famer anyway, right?
Right.
Gary Sheffield hit 509 home runs.
So he's been the one that's been debated
he's
for a while.
too.
Yeah. Carlos
looks good.
Delgado is not a Hall of Famer.
Got it.
The belief was when Fred McGriff got in that Delgado would be shortly thereafter.
So
okay.
I
always liked him. I always liked getting his baseball card.
Gary Sheffield is an interesting because Gary Sheffield won a World Series.
Yep.
He did play for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
He also won a batting title. He hit 500 home runs. And
self-described mercenary.
Yes.
Yep.
Never won an MVP, but got close like 3 times. Was top 3 times. And was an all-star 9 times. Like he has a better resume than Stanton and is not in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know about Giancarlo. It's not his fault. Not his fault. Everybody else there, unless you obviously did steroids.
Yeah. Barry.
Yeah.
Talking to you, man.
Sorry.
I don't make the rules. I don't make them.
Or Mark McGwire.
Yep.
583 home runs. Nobody cares.
You just poo-poo 583.
Yeah. 583.
I mean, remember that magical moment in the 90s? Him and Sammy.
The
summer.
Manny never got in,
That was
did he?
amazing.
No.
Manny hit 555.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Manny's top 15 all time.
Defensively, he was pretty bad.
He was taking those pregnancy tests.
Yeah, that's right. He had the estrogen thing.
Why are you buying so many pregnancy tests, Manny?
Just Manny being Manny.
Yeah.
That's a lot of home runs to not have in the Hall of Fame.
Remember when he cut off a throw from his own outfield?
I do. But that's the kind of stuff that like makes people remember you, right? Even though it's a detriment to
you're
his,
not wrong there.
Even though it's a detriment to his playing ability, it is like, sometimes that's the stuff that gets you into the Hall of Fame, the individuality.
You just want to be like, what were you thinking? And like,
hey,
clearly I wasn't.
You are spot on because I'm going to bring it back to college football. Did you guys see how Cam Ward scored against Florida State?
Or he just walked in?
Yeah.
They ran the crouch play. So he now has a touchdown reception on his resume.
Yeah.
That was pure. We're chasing the Heisman with Cam Ward.
Yep. Yeah. He should have just struck the pose there.
If you have a moment.
Yes.
If you have a moment.
Flash.
Yeah. That's why everyone thinks Jeter's overrated. But Jeter had 50 moments.
Yes, he did.
In his career.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the biggest Jeter moment?
Oh, it's without
the
question the flip.
The flip?
Yeah. The ball off target.
What about the dive into the stands?
Into the stands. It comes out all bloodied.
How about the Jeffrey Mayer or whatever that guy's name was?
That was Jeffrey Mayer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really do anything there except for hit it to the wall.
Yeah.
For his 3,000th, it was a home run off David Price.
Yeah, now that was kind of cool.
How about Mr. November?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
2001.
We'll see you later tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't win that World Series, but nobody remembers it.
Lose to Arizona. Well, and remember, because that was also right after 9/11. And
Kirby Puckett, Game 6.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
moments.
We'll see.
If you got a moment,
yep,
you're going to have a better chance.
He did have a lot of moments.
Salvador Perez, he had a couple moments. Put him in. I want to see Salvador Perez's statue.
Hey, what do you think of
Dwayne Wade's?
What'd you think of What'd you think of Fat Joe yesterday?
I have a lot of respect for Fat Joe. Don't think he's.
I saw your tweet though. I agree.
I don't think
it's totally unnecessary to be doing this.
I don't think they put him in the right position.
Why do we need to do this? At one point in the middle of the game, before like the 5th inning, the 6th inning, we do God Bless America.
Yeah.
When did having to do a rap before we start the game?
This is totally made up.
Is Major League Baseball trying to reignite the East Coast West Coast rap?
They might be.
They are.
What an unlikely source.
Ice Cube v Fat Joe.
Fat Joe and Ice Cube are the interesting
Ice Cube.
I think Fat Joe didn't know where to go, so he's stomping around on the mound.
He's tamping the mound.
Like at least Ice Cube.
He had Timberlands on the mound.
They're Big Ten boots. Someone told me those are what people in Big Ten country wear.
Yeah, like to go snow shovel. But those are nice Tims
up in Madison.
Very clean.
But at least Ice Cube, he had a destination. Like he could walk from the outfield in.
He was kind of wandering a little bit too.
Fat Joe comes out of the dugout and it's like, all right, I'm here.
Didn't know where to go. I mean, can you imagine Fat Joe at Field of Dreams coming out of the corn? Where would he go?
What if if they had Fat Joe at Monument Park and then he comes out?
Oh,
he could make
their mind.
They probably would.
Too
Like,
far
that's so
for Fat
disrespectful.
Joe. Fat Joe stayed on the infield.
Yeah. Did Fat Joe step on the line? He might have stepped on the line.
Probably.
I bet he did.
The problem is,
it's big
like, people
Timberland
start
on the
texting
line.
me, not only they're like, this is horrible, and then it was, who is this guy?
Well, you might remember him from 2008.
Looked a little different.
Yeah.
He did look a little different.
Good on him.
A lot more of him to love.
He has become the New York sports fan. Like he is at Yankee games, he's at Knick games.
Also, what's up
He's
with
like
what's up with the new Yankee PA guy trying to do the Bob Shepard, like trying to do the numbers afterwards? Is this like
they had the Bob Shepard one canned for Jeter.
Right. But they were like, here's Giancarlo Stanton, number 27, Giancarlo Stanton, number 27.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's like,
that's a Bob Shepard thing.
We'll just let it die.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah, that's a Bob Shepard thing.
Yeah. It's over.
Agree.
I don't know. I think it's a Yankee Stadium thing.
So
after Bob Shepard was gone, I appreciated that the Yankees, the only guy in the lineup that got the Bob Shepard introduction was Jeter all the time.
Number two.
So when John Sterling retires, is the next person going to be a friggin' weirdo?
Yankees win.
Giancarlo goes up Barlow. Is he going to do that? Because
that might have the distance. It's a dribbler to the pitcher. Calm down.
We played that earlier.
Not a home run.
I didn't hear that until we played.
Monpa Yankee are very interesting on the radio.
That is that's just a weird broadcast. Yeah.
Good one.
Well, then
Susan Waldman is actually pretty funny.
Well, she actually tried to help him out with that long fly ball. Well, it did actually look, although it was off the end of the bat. I'm going to be really curious to see. She said something about it.
The Aurora Borealis is wreaking havoc on the sight lines.
So since we're going right into it, I asked this question last night. What happened to the Liza Minnelli version of New York, New York? After they lose, they would always play the Liza Minnelli version.
Yeah. Big deal.
They win, they play the Sinatra version.
Mm-hmm.
So then I Googled it last night. Apparently, Liza Minnelli got pissed.
Yeah, and she's associated with the L. Yeah. Nobody wants to be associated with an L. That means your performance was an L.
When did they cut that off? And there must have been a huge outrage about that on Sports Talk Radio in New York. I must have missed it.
I bet Mad Dog was all over it.
I'm sure it was. They played the Liza Minnelli version. Now they play Sinatra both times. They win or lose. It's like winning and losing doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, maybe that just answered a lot of questions.
Is that why all the seats are empty?
That can be Aaron Boone's response. You know what? We're just here to play the game and make Yankee fans happy that there's a ball game.
He's so triggered during post-game pressers right now. It's so fun.
Well, there was a guy last night that said, after you lose, and I was like, I don't think that's a good question.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we got an email here. You guys all got this as well. An angry email from Chris.
Whoa.
Did Connor just suggest that if Turner Gill had a national championship, that it would be he and Tommy? What the absolute F? Trade Eric Crouch and any other quarterback and tell me how those teams' seasons. So we just opened up that discussion today.
Oh, okay.
Eric Crouch.
Did Tommy get the 2001 team to the national title game? No freaking way. Not even close.
Eric Crouch. Does Tommy Frazier get Nebraska to the 2001 national title game if he's 95 Tommy Frazier?
95 Tommy Frazier's pretty good.
I know.
Pretty good.
I know.
Well, you'd be trading.
I think he was kind of better than Eric Crouch.
You would be trading Darren Diedrich for, Lawrence Phillips.
Lawrence Phillips.
Obviously, it changes things.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit.
Changes things. But I think Tommy would have.
I think he would
welcomed the weight on his shoulders.
Would have been just fine.
Yeah.
EC had one of the greatest individual seasons in the history of Nebraska.
He was incredible. He was the only player. To Chris's point, he was the only player.
They could both bowl over defenders too. But I'm not.
But Turner Gill with a national championship.
Yep.
Yeah, that puts him in a different stratosphere.
It does.
I don't get.
But I think in this era, sorry, Jerry Taggy, Frazier, Gill, and Crouch are the three. But Steve Taylor gets a lot of run.
Tough day for Tanner Lee. Another L for Tanner.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah, leave him out. Yeah, he only had one of the best passing seasons in Nebraska history.
But is Dylan Raiola already better than Tanner Lee?
402-951-1620.
Who would you rather have throwing a screen pass?
Oh God.
All the blocking is the same.
Blocking is the same.
Well, zero blitz.
I just had flashback
Zero blitz.
the pick 6 against Northern
Yeah,
Illinois, where
I
they
don't want
turned and they were going to throw it to Ozigbo out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Zing.
Yeah.
There it goes.
We should do you know what we should do on a crossover? We should have an offensive coordinator draft for the last 20 years.
Okay, so you're stopping once Solich becomes the head coach? Because T.O. would be like
post T.O.
Yeah.
98 non.
Okay.
Offensive coordinator draft. Or just maybe we should do a coordinator draft. People would probably take Bo.
A coordinator draft would be good.
People probably take 03 Bo.
No.
Can you not take Charlie Mack? Never mind. It's post. Okay, it's post TO.
Yeah,
post TO. So it's
you can't take any of those. You can't take any of Tom's guys. I don't know who would get drafted.
This would be very interesting.
I don't know who would get drafted or who would not get drafted. Hell, we could do a whole assistant coach.
Sean Watson's my
This
sleeper.
might be better. Which coordinator?
Tim Beck actually would be pretty high in my draft.
Which coordinator wouldn't you draft?
Disco Bobby D.
Probably looking at Kevin Cosgrove.
Yep, that would be a no draft for me.
Yep.
I'd have a bad tag.
I wouldn't have him on my board.
I probably would never utter the words Mark Whipple.
Okay, that's fair.
Great.
That is fair.
Pick.
That is
Josh.
fair. So he's not on your board?
Not on my board.
Mark Whipple did have an NFL wide receiver.
People forget about Ben Roethlisberger.
Sure did. Oh, yeah. And if you forget, he'll tell you.
Oh, maybe that's something we can prepare for one day.
Danny Langsdorf is in there.
Oh,
I was a Danny and Banker fan.
I didn't hate Danny Langsdorf.
Yeah.
Truth be told,
Danny,
I'd take him over.
Danny got frustrated at Tommy Armstrong a lot.
Yep.
What about? I saw this a lot on Saturday. Is oh my God, Sean Watson is calling plays for Nebraska. Was that this
Sean Watson's a nice guy, though.
When was the last coordinator not named Tom Osborne or Charlie McBride that people universally like, hey, I kind of like that guy? Because Bo until the end, when he couldn't stop mobile quarterbacks named Vince Young or Brad Smith.
Tony White last year.
Up until the Indiana game, Tony White.
Yeah.
But after last week, he's back.
Yeah, I don't know. But
he's back, baby.
Once you get frustrated once at the coordinator, it's kind of over.
It's tough to put that toothpaste back in the bottle.
Yeah.
Just is.
Better to your popularity rating has a better chance as a head coach here than as a coordinator.
Eric Shenander.
Because there's never like a coordinator that we like that we hate the head coach.
You know,
we like the head coach, but we hate his coordinator.
Shenander had an interesting run because we hated him, then we loved him,
21.
And then he got fired.
Yeah, 21. The defense was humming.
Yeah,
like whoa.
We were like, Chins, that's the guy. Keep him around.
They're shutting down Kenneth Walker. Not his fault. They punted to the wrong side of the field. Wasn't Chin's fault. Chin's had his way. Would have punted the right guy.
What would Chins do? They were saying.
Yeah, I thought Chins
people were wearing bracelets.
Go on to big things, and then
I thought Chins was pretty good too.
I actually like Chins.
Were you a Chins guy?
Paul question. Paul question. Are you a Chins guy? See, people are now going to interpret that as, oh, you think he's better than Tony White? No. Just in general.
I think people will see that poll question. They'll say, why are you guys talking about chins?
Maybe
chins? No, I like butts. I'm a butt guy. I don't like chins. She better not have chins.
Just think about that. Coordinator draft.
Were you a chins guy?
Poll questions up at Happer Show. Were you a chins guy?
Carl Pelini.
Someone's going to write in, it's complicated.
Hey, so
Carl.
Because Chins is at Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if Boise State makes the playoff?
Oh, my God.
Does Chins get a job before Tony?
Goat
as a head coach?
Chins.
It's a race to San Diego State or something like that.
Chin Scout D was preparing Ashton Genty to win that Heisman every day.
That's right.
Every day. Every damn day.
Damn straight.
There's Gary Sheffield.
This is the whoa.
We just spoke him into existence.
Yeah. He's all over that comeback.
What is he is he at a desk with a computer in the back and he's just chilling?
He's at the office.
His grandson set it up for him.
Yeah. Is that like a call center?
He's like Michael Scott. He's got that bank, that telemarketer job.
He's taking his 15-minute. All right, good on him.
All right, have a good day, guys. Yeah. That is the crossover powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha. EveryLevelConcrete.com. It's Tuesday. We'll start things off next.
No,
It's the Conor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Conor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
We should have started the show with Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, the losing song for the Yankees.
And the Giants and the Knicks. What a night for people who hate New York.
Josh, you hate New York? What's up with you in New York?
Yeah, why wouldn't I hate New York?
I love New York.
I'm aware of
I'm a New York guy, but I don't really care about the Yankees.
3 L's last night.
I prefer New York to other things, other big cities.
Okay.
Like if you're making me choose between East Coast, West Coast, like a LA, New York thing, give me New York.
Okay.
I like the dirtiness. Give me the rats.
Give me the grime.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm all about. Give me the bagels.
Oh, well, okay.
Give me the bagels. Give me the pizza. Get the old thing. All right. So who else lost? The Knicks and the G-men.
Yeah. There was
nice,
football last night.
Nice 2-point play, Danny. It's tough. Bad. Speaking of the NFL, we'll have plenty of that chatter today on the show. The writers have come up with some fine NFL reaction, overreaction topics coming up in the noon hour, and we'll discuss it with Allan Bell coming up in under an hour. Jacob Bigelow will join the show. Josh's bottom 5 NFL teams. That's the lineup, powered by the referees. John Higgins, Weather Guard. I want to hear from you guys, 402-951-1620. The 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Conor Happer on the JTech Constructions on Twitter feed. You can email Conor or Josh at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Josh has got Herbie on. He's wearing Herbie proudly on his chest today.
That's right.
And I'm wearing 1620 the Zone because I love our company.
I do too. I got him on
1620 the Zone.
On my cup.
Yeah, Josh didn't get a hat. He got a cup.
Yeah.
Which is probably good for Josh because he has a variety of different drinking methods.
Yeah.
Like utensils.
I'm always drinking something.
Yeah, but like you don't have this. No 2 days are the same in terms of your cup, Josh.
Well, you know.
So this is good for you.
You got to take them home and wash them, or
not really.
You don't take them home and wash them, and they just kind of collect at your desk.
Yeah.
One or the other.
That's what you're doing. It seems like that's the strategy you're taking.
Yeah.
So you can leave a comment or watch us today. 1620 The Zone TV on YouTube or zonetv.live. Elsewhere today, will Nebraska make a bowl game? Will we be partying at the Grand China Buffet at 114th and Dodge over the weekend? How important is this game for Nebraska? And how big of a weight is not going to a bowl game or sitting at 5 wins? Nebraska has spent the majority of their time for the last 2 seasons sitting on exactly 5 wins and never getting to 6. How big of a weight is that on the program? And how high can they fly if they just break through that wall? You have no idea how high I can fly, as Michael Scott said.
That's right.
Before he quit or after he quit. So maybe we'll find that this was just a gigantic weight on the program and Nebraska needs to break through that wall. We'll discuss it today. We'll also talk about offensive pass interference. Bad Takes Doug wrote me an email last night about offensive pass interference.
BTD?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling him now. Bad Takes Doug. Sorry, Doug. It's a tough nickname, but I think it's earned. So he wrote in last night after the show, hey, you need to do the legwork on how many pass interference calls there have ever been or whatever.
Yeah, we need to do the legwork.
I didn't do that legwork, but I do have some OPI stats for you. Matt Rule, of course, talked about officials yesterday. He also talked about the screen game. You'll hear that today on the show. So we'll discuss it. The Yankees are in big trouble.
Big trouble.
Didn't talk about Dylan Raiola running around much yesterday, but I'd like to talk about that as well.
He does that now. Get used to it.
Who's the real Nebraska? Do you trust him? Do you trust Indiana, Nebraska, or do you trust that we'll see Ohio State, Nebraska? How's the variance so wide? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Also, tiebreakers and the leaders of the Costco guys universe went on Jimmy Fallon last night. Josh is going to have to hear about it.
I don't know why I have
Big
to
Justice,
hear about it,
Big AJ, and the Rizzler, they were all on Jimmy Fallon last night.
They were on the Tonight Show.
That's right, with Jimmy Fallon.
Used to be
TikTok is now mainstream
show on American television.
I don't think it is anymore. Probably
no, couldn't possibly be.
They probably just default to football now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna have to hear about that during the show.
Is this the modern day equivalent of when Johnny Carson would bring out like animals like with Jack Hanna and the snake would pee on his arm?
Yeah, it's like Brian Fellows' Safari Planet.
Yeah. No way that rabbit cut its own hair.
I'm Brian Fellows. We've handshake memed on this before, Josh. One of my favorite SNL skits of all time.
It's a great one. Look it up.
Brian Fellows' Safari Planet. I would sit and watch SNL only for the slight hope that Brian Fellows' Safari Planet would pop up in the first block.
Maybe
and if it would not go to bed
tonight.
Yeah, But if it happened like after the first musical guest, I'd be in bed already.
Yeah.
And I would never see it.
Well, you knew right away, like, okay, if you're getting it or not. Like it came on pretty early.
Because it was a good one. Yeah, it was just like that. It's just like that. That's what Big Justice and Big AJ are. Still no word yet on how many people watched the World Series instead of the NFL last night, but looking forward to that. But I do have some statistics for you on Nebraska, Ohio State, big noon Saturday. Peaked. Okay. So as Nebraska was making this a game in the fourth quarter, people started to flock over to the shoe.
What's going on over here?
In fact, almost 9.5 million people did. Now that they don't get credit for like everybody watching the entire game, but that's where it peaked. Almost 10 million people watched in between 2:15 and 2:30 on Saturday as Nebraska was making a game out of this thing. It was the most watched college football game on any network this weekend. It was up 66% for Big Noon Saturdays Week 9 last year.
Interesting. LSU Texas A&M for the SEC lead didn't have that many viewers.
That's right.
Interesting.
Also, stats from Friday night, the 10 p.m. kickoff between Rutgers and USC. 2 million viewers.
Okay.
2 million viewers.
That's more than that Monday Night Football game.
That was on Peacock.
Between the Chargers and Cardinals on ESPN+.
That's something. Yeah. Up 69%.
Nice.
Over average late night college football telecasts on the network this season, according to Fox's press release that just came out. All right, so we're off and running on a Tuesday. We don't want to talk about TV ratings the whole show. We'll talk about the World Series, and we, of course, want to hear from you guys on today's show. Off and running on a Tuesday. It's the Conor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. You guys better hope that Nebraska goes to a bowl game, because
I think you better hope Nebraska goes to a bowl game.
that is true. My head might be on a stick somewhere
Throw
if they
a
do.
brick through your window.
I'm just saying, man. What they're sitting on 5 wins seemingly all the time. They always have 5 wins.
It happens a lot.
Do the math, Josh. What is the percentage of time in which Nebraska's had exactly 5 wins over the last I don't know, 8 years since they've been to a bowl game?
8 years? Wow,
So they went 5-7 in so they got to 4-18. Well, they got to 4-17, 4-18, 5-19. How many games did they sit on 5 wins that year? They at least lost their last one. I know that for sure because they lost to Iowa. They beat Maryland to get their 5th. So they spent an entire off season there. And I don't know. I guess it just depends on when you start counting the next season. 2020 doesn't count. 2021 they only got 3 wins. 2022 they only got 4 wins. Last year they got 5. They sat on 5 from October 28th on. And
it's a long time.
If you notice, Josh, today is October 29th.
I have noticed that.
Nebraska got their 5th win this year on October 5th. So it's been even longer. Yeah. So you just better hope that ends this week. Everybody better hope that ends this week. Here's why.
Good things come to those who wait, Connor.
Yeah. We've been waiting. Okay. Tick-tock, mother bleeper.
I've been patient.
As Josh would say.
That's right. I would say that.
So
I'm Will Compton.
Here is why you want football season to last longer. Because
the practices.
If football season isn't happening, then we have to talk about other stuff.
Oh, you ready for basketball? You ready for hoops?
This is not about basketball. Here's one of the other things. The house settlement.
Oh, God.
Yeah, baby. See, this is what I'm talking about. You better get that 6th win. All right. I'm talking like late December bowl game. All right. We need to squeeze every little bit out of this season as we possibly can. So I just saw this going around. Each SEC school is expected to opt into the House versus NCAA, the rev share agreement.
Oh, really?
Makes sense. I assume it's been talked about before by leadership at the Big Ten that every Big Ten school will obviously do so too. With that comes scholarship limits and how many people you can have on. It's not so much scholarships anymore. We're talking about roster spots, right? I don't want to talk about it for football. Baseball comes up in this tweet that I'm looking at right now from Noah Henderson, meaning they would simultaneously opt into the NCAA's new roster limits. 150 by his math, 158 SEC baseball players will be released from their rosters heading into next baseball season. Not this coming one, next baseball season.
Oh.
There are as many as almost 50 players on some SEC rosters. 50 talented baseball players, Josh.
Interesting.
I wonder what the trickle down on that is. I wonder how many of those players end up back in Big Ten country. And then I wonder how many Big Ten schools will opt in, how many scholarships they will fund, right? We don't have an answer on this. How many scholarships, how many roster spots will baseball in the Big Ten fund? And it's going to be specifically up to the schools because the Big Ten is anti-guidance on everything, and they'll leave it up to the schools. And so then it comes down to the individual schools and how much you want to fund. And a lot of that is dependent on the competition around you, right? Like you will only fund as much as, one more than what the second place team wants to, right?
Uh-huh.
If you don't have to fund the 34 in the Big Ten, you won't. And that'd be my guess would be that there's probably only a few schools in the Big Ten that would even consider funding the full scholarships, the full limit. And I don't know if those schools, one of those would be Nebraska, because they have the money and their athletic department is in good financial position, and they have a general baseball history. People care about baseball. It doesn't make them money, but they care about baseball. Maybe it'll be based on how much revenue each sports make and how much profit each sports make. Baseball turns a negative profit every year. They lose money just putting on a baseball team every year. So they have to decide how much money are we going to throw into this. And the limit is not 11.7 anymore. People around here aren't going to like it when Nebraska only funds 20 baseball scholarships or 18 baseball scholarships, because people around here want Nebraska baseball to be like the SEC. Mm-hmm. They want them to host regionals, and they want them to do this and this and this and this, because there have been in college baseball. They have done things. They have been to College World Series. I wonder what the current administration thinks about that. It's something to watch. I don't know if and when we'll get an answer on that, but something to watch. Anyway, that tweet popped up, so I wanted to take a second and talk about that for a minute. We get an email from TJ3.
Hi, TJ3.
Not so fast, he says. Some of us would like to see Nebraska finish the season with 5 wins because it would be an epic collapse. No fan base deserves it more.
Whoa.
TJ3 triggered at Nebraska fans.
Thanks for
They were listening. 5-1. They were 5-1. He listens for the Creighton stuff.
That's right. That's right.
We'll give you the Creighton stuff. Don't worry about that. All right.
I got confused.
11 o'clock hour coming up. Let's get into some Nebraska football. Sorry, TJ3. We're gonna have a little bit of Nebraska football chatter today. Doug's OPI question. Josh is doing some very intensive research at the moment.
I am.
And then I got some stuff for you coming back as well. Just a little bit on officiating.
Little bit.
Next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
right, so Doug asked a question. Bad Takes Doug sent us an email last night.
In the Equitable Bank inbox.
The Equitable Bank inbox. That's right, Josh. His question was regarding offensive pass interference calls and how many of those there were around the Big Ten over the weekend. I was mainly focused on how, because I had a big freak out yesterday about offensive pass interference. Offensive pass interference, really?
In this economy?
Offensive pass interference. So I thought, this is not very common. And so I used the tools at my fingertips, and it's very difficult to track this stuff for college, as Josh is finding out right now. There's no like database where this exists. Well, actually, I should amend that. There is, but we don't have access to it because it costs many thousands of dollars.
I'm literally just going through the play-by-play of every game and Control F penalty.
Okay. All right. We're going to get Josh's research in a second. I have a little bit for you. This comes out of the NFL. So don't have enough time to look through all the college football games. Josh is looking through all the Big Ten ones from this past weekend. We'll have the results of his research in a second. But here's a couple things I came up with. There was a story on ESPN that was done about penalties and their frequencies, and this is all in the NFL, in the 2019 season. And it said from 2014 to 2018, there were 695 offensive pass interference calls, which is an average of 139 per season. That's just over a half of an OPI a game. That was from 2014 to 2018. That's a 5-year stretch with an average of a half a OPI a game. Nebraska had 4 times that amount on Saturday, of course. Then Sports Reference actually has a good database, and they keep all the NFL penalties from every year, right?
Every game,
and the frequency in which they happen, and the per game average. Last year, offensive pass interference was called. Remember, 272 games in the NFL. Now, last year in the NFL, offensive pass interference was called 70 times total. 272 games. That is a hair more than a quarter of an OPI a game. 0.26 OPIs a game. Nebraska got 8 times that amount on Saturday. This year, it is the 13th most frequently called penalty in the NFL. This would be a good draft, Josh. Can you name all of the more frequent penalties that happened in the NFL this year than offensive pass interference?
False start.
That's number 1.
Holding.
That's number 2.
Now, is that offensive and defensive holding in one? Or do I have to?
Nope, those are 2 separate things.
Okay. Offensive holding, defensive holding.
That's 3 out of the top 4.
Defensive pass interference.
That's 4 out of the top 4.
Roughing the passer.
That is down the list a little bit. It's been called 56 times this year, but yes.
Offsides.
Yes. You have each of the top 5 and number 8.
You're
missing 6 and 7 at the moment.
I'm seeing a lot of illegal shifts lately.
Illegal shift is number 10, correct?
Illegal formation.
Illegal formation is number 7. You're missing one obvious procedural one.
Oh, okay. Encroachment.
That counts as defensive offsides, I think. Before the snap.
Seen a lot of 12 men on the field lately. That's more of a strategic thing, though.
Yeah. Delay of game. You're missing delay of game.
Oh, yeah.
So false start, offensive holding, defensive pass interference, defensive holding, defensive offsides, delay of game, illegal formation, roughing the passer, and then you get into roughing, unnecessary roughness on the defense.
Oh, yeah, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Illegal shift, neutral zone infraction. So I guess that would fall under the encroachment window, maybe. Ineligible downfield pass, and then offensive pass interference. There have been 5 more ineligible downfield passes called this year than offensive pass interferences in the NFL. Just behind OPI's face mask. What do you think the okay, gosh. There is a lot of penalties, by the way, just like kinds of penalties. Here are the penalties. Are you now? We're going off on a weird tangent right now. We'll get back to it in a second because now I'm down on this list and I love it. There have been 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 penalties that have been called just once this year.
Whoa.
So these are weird penalties.
Sure.
Illegal touch kick. Don't know what that is.
That would probably be, hey, we have declared an onside kick. It did not go the 10 yards before someone touched
good
it.
one. Good one, yeah. Clipping. What happened to clipping?
Yeah, we don't talk about clipping.
No more anymore. Clipping. Illegal kick. Oh, that's like kicking a loose ball on a fumble.
Oh, yeah.
Like kicking it out of bounds or something like that. Chop block. Illegal touch pass. Illegal touch pass and illegal touch kick have both happened. Ineligible downfield kick. Offensive low block. Leverage. Something called leverage.
Leverage.
I didn't know leverage was a penalty.
Is that when you...
I don't know what leverage is.
On the field goals and extra points?
Oh!
When you...
Gosh, Josh, you're probably right.
Well, I stat football, Connor.
Yeah. Tripping and illegal substitution. There's only been one illegal substitution called in the NFL this season. Either way, we go down that tangent to explain to you that offensive pass interference is very rare. On average right now in the NFL, it is being called just under a quarter of a time per game. And basically that stat holds from last year as well. A quarter of a time per game over a full season of 272 games. It's not common. Josh, do you have any results on your research yet?
I have the results.
The results from the research. Now tell people what you researched.
Now, Douglas's specific question was, how many other times in Big Ten games this weekend was offensive pass interference called?
Okay.
Connor,
and you looked up that stat.
I looked up that stat.
So we remember that Nebraska had 2.
That's right. Connor, in Big Ten games this weekend, of which there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, offensive pass interference was called 2 times in Big Ten football games. That's not a joke. I looked it up.
0 other OPIs in any other game this weekend.
Right. Now, on the front end, I looked it up and said, okay, I'll look this up and
you were hoping to get this result.
No, I said, I'll prove to Douglas that this happens.
Oh, no.
Occasionally.
No, OPIs don't happen.
I thought for sure, like, okay, it got called 1 time. It did not.
0 times. 0 other times. And Nebraska got it twice. In crucial situations, once at the end of the game on a potential game-winning drive, and the other time at the end of a half that put them out of field goal range. I know they later got back in and they kicked the 54-yard field goal. Ha ha!
Nailed it.
But there's the point. Wow. So there you go. That answers your question, Douglas. Bad takes, Doug. It's a bad deal right now. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, not great. That's a bad look. Now, somebody else asked us for something way more in-depth.
What was it?
So I've been seeing a lot of posts about the lack of holding calls against opponents when Nebraska is on the road.
See, I always see these tweets from the people, and they're like, I don't know how they find these, first of all. Yeah. But like there's some absolutely absurd stat that Nebraska opponents have only been called for holding like X amount of times over the last 15 years,
and then
or something like that.
Yesterday, I saw a stat, a whole bunch from people in our chat, and I forget the year, so I'm going to get it wrong. So forgive me. 2015, Ohio State didn't get called for holding a single time all season.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, the theory is growing that like basically Nebraska is the only school that gets holding called on them. Nebraska's had some bad offensive lines.
Yeah.
When you have bad offensive lines, you're getting beat and you're doing holdings all the time.
Be better.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of that goes into it. All right. The other topic of conversation yesterday at the press conference, by the way, Jeff on Officiating writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
It's crap like that makes people think it was fixed, which I don't. That is exactly right. It is crap like that makes people think it's fixed. And it's the stuff about the holding calls and it's not, but these are hard stats to swallow.
Let's be crystal clear on that.
So
the Big Ten is not out to get Nebraska.
That's right.
The fix is not in.
Well, I would like to mention one more thing on this, because yesterday, Sam, when Sam came on the show, he said that Dannon, and this happened, like Dannon was there, Mr. Yogurt was there at the press conference yesterday, and they thought that he was going to get up there and talk. And the topic of conversation with Mr. Yogurt would have been about officiating and, all of these things. And then in my head, I thought back to the quote that Rule had after the Purdue game, which was what, Josh? Somebody's going to have to fight for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a game in which he got a personal foul, sideline warning, an unsportsmanlike conduct warning for yelling at officials. He got it again.
He threw his headset down.
That's right.
Interesting, the double standard there.
He got it again in the Indiana game. And then he said during his press conference yesterday that both of those times the officials called them, the league called them the next day, and they said those shouldn't have been flags. And yet somehow Ryan Day still didn't get a flag on Saturday.
And
for worse stuff.
Yeah, more.
Okay. So Nebraska gets up, Rule does 5 minutes on refs. And he's being careful. He keeps going back to, I don't want to get, thanks for the statement. I appreciate the statement. But, here's this. I appreciate the statement. Thanks for the statement. An acknowledgement, right? And Dannon gets up there, and we're going to hear some stuff from Dannon. And I'll say this, like, we'll see what the quotes are from Dannon. I don't know exactly what the contents of what he said, but I would imagine that there were some more things that he said that probably aren't going to get printed, because Dannon's kind of that kind of guy on officiating in the league. So I think that is a show of Nebraska leadership saying, frankly, I think Nebraska is doing the right thing here. I think Nebraska needs to complain more. I think the squeaky wheel does get the grease. I think that we've seen now over and over and over again, not only in this league, but around sports, and when calls like this and officiating like this comes up, you'll see that rules get changed expeditiously. There was a rule that got patched up from the Ohio State-Oregon game in less than 48 hours after that game finished. Just changed. A rule changed, right? Everybody saw it. But people went to the league office and they were like, hey, let's just fix this. Right? Done. Fixed. So what I'm saying is I think Nebraska needs to be like more critical of the, if they want something to change, like officials during games, Josh, you see this all the time. And we see it, I think, most closely probably in college basketball, because we can see the coaches and they're in very close contact with the officials all the time. It's a small area. How much does the idea of working the refs come up? Working the refs. A lot.
But yeah.
Some of the best coaches work the refs, right? They're walking by and they say something to them, whatever it might be. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. They can't not hear you. They can hear you, right? They can hear you.
They can hear you.
They are people.
That's right.
They can hear you. So Nebraska needs to be more, continue to be, I think this is the start of it. They need to continue to be more overt in their criticism of the league. Because once you start saying stuff out loud, they start watching it. Yeah, they might fine you. They might publicly they'll send you an and they'll say, you can't do that. But guess what? They'll start listening. This is good.
At a certain point, I imagine you do the cost benefit analysis of, all right, this is worth the fine.
Sure.
I'm I'm well compensated, and I'll take the fine.
I think Nebraska, and everybody, frankly, needs to be just loud about this. Maybe that's our path to fixing some things.
I could be completely wrong, but Matt Rule seems like a penny pincher.
When it comes to his football program,
not that. Yeah, not that.
He might think, hey, this is worth it.
What are you throwing that milk out? There's still that much left in the milk.
He kind of does seem like that kind of guy. That's for sure. Like, I think Nebraska needs to continue, and everybody in the league who feels like they're wronged by a call or whatever. Minnesota in that Michigan game. Speak up. Say something about it.
You see it more in the NFL where the coach is like, bleep it, I'll take the fine. Those refs were trash today.
They can hear you. Mm-hmm. They can hear you, and they're watching. Here's a text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
You're making our point. When the rule affects Ohio State negatively, it gets changed right away. When something bad happens to Nebraska, they get a memo that says, sorry, sucks to be you. No, I don't know whose side you think I'm on, but this is what I'm saying. Yes.
I think they say that is the fix, and we're telling you it's just incompetence. It's not any preordained plan from on high.
No. The fix is not in. But when the point stands though, when Ohio State says something, they have a bigger platform. They're on national TV they're on the big noon game all the time or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to listen because they are. That is true, but that's not a fix. That's not a fix. Mm-hmm. Just because the league has, maybe a little bit more reverence for one team or another because of its past success doesn't mean it's fixed against them. Right now, I don't think that should be a thing so much either, but it's the reality of it. Alex and Lincoln says, let the Panthers pay the fine. That's right.
People don't forget.
Rule's got a little money left in that Panthers kitty, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. Here's Bullet Point Bob with always being a bit of a contrarian.
Hi, BPB.
Complaining about officiating in a game where Nebraska's offense pissed away any chance to win and wasted an opportunity when they get caught playing Ohio State playing C- football, uninspired football, boring. Get over it. The officials did not cost Nebraska the game. The fourth quarter OPI was a push-off. The Big Ten office overturned the targeting call, so Nebraska got a break, not fumbling and losing the game right there, Bob.
Macro view.
Bob's saying get over it.
I agree with.
Get over it, B word.
Bob. Not the B word. Not the B word. I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with saying the B word?
I do not agree with it, Connor.
Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Josh trying to not get canceled all the time.
That's right.
Trying to save me from being canceled all the time. It's appreciated, for the record. All right, screen game. I have a video, Josh. Are we prepared to play this video?
You know what?
I know I kind of just sprung this on you.
I'm ready.
All right. Here's Matt Rule. When asked by Steve Sipple yesterday about Nebraska's screen game and how coach feels about it at the moment.
I'll be very humble when I say this. I completely understand why people are frustrated, right? Completely, At the same time, what I would say is you go block that front without throwing a couple screens and tell me, okay? I mean, they're dominant, absolutely dominant. There's some kids that feel really bad on our team because they see the heat that Sat's taking or I'm taking or whoever, and they know that they had a missed assignment. If they had blocked the man-to-man defender, the ball would have gone for about 50. So, that being said, you have some things built in, like, hey, we're running this play. If they bring zero blitz, throwing a screen. That's what kind of most people do. And they threw the screen, and we just didn't make the block or whatever. So we look at everything like we have to be better as coaches. Like, it always starts with us. There's one thing you're not allowed to do in our building. You can never say the players weren't good enough. You can never say, oh, so-and-so, he's not good enough. So, yeah, it wasn't good enough. The screen game wasn't good enough, to have two on the final drive. I can understand why people would be frustrated about that. We came out and threw the go ball to Jamal, and got the offense. He caught it. Then we have the ball on the 45-yard line. We got the offensive pass interference. We came out. We threw the backside in cut versus cover 2. The targeting play. We get the ball. They came out. They played man. We went to the screen. So I wish we could go back on those things. But yeah, I mean, the screen game hasn't been terrible for us, but it was not very good for us in that game. And it's just one of those things. Come out of the game as coaches, and you're like, hey, we really thought going into that game we were going to need to be able to screen them because of their pass rush. Even plays like like we were putting Wood in motion and running as fast as we could and blocking their DN and handing the Bonner and handing the ball off. He missed one in a crucial time, but yet they weren't quite running up the field and rushing us as much as they were because they had to play the screens. They had to so much of football to me is complimentary. There's things I really regret from that game. Some of the play calls we called, some of the defenses we called, but that's ball, man. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it wasn't good enough. It hurt us in crucial situations. We got to be better. We went into it with a plan, thinking we needed to be able to do that, and in the key moments at the end of the game, it didn't work out.
So I want to talk about the criticism about the screen game real quick. This has now become a thing where we have PTSD. Remember when Scott Frost would throw swing passes and they didn't work for a while, and then people saw a swing pass and they were like, why is our offense only swing passes?
I do remember this, yes.
You remember when Scott Frost would routinely say that they had the best week in practice? They had a good week in practice.
I will never forget.
And then now this coach has come up and said that they've had some pretty good weeks in practice, and now people get freaked out because they think it means a bad thing. When the coach says that they have a good week of practice, our brains are just completely fried on these subjects. This is now that.
Okay.
I am not mad at Nebraska in theory. And now it comes back to this, but in theory, I am not mad about Nebraska calling screens. Do screens. I feel like people are in the mode right now where if they see a screen, they start throwing stuff at their television and leave the room. I feel like we're in that mode right now. Nebraska needs to have this. It needs to be a part of what they do. I'm mad at Nebraska's inability to execute these screens. Now, you might say, Connor, well, if they can't execute them, then why are they doing them 95% of their offense? I would say, well, person, it's not that much. You're maybe over-exaggerating a little bit. And second of all, that's a fair question. They don't need to be doing them with the frequency that they're doing them with. But the point stands from rule, which is they're coming up the field. They're huge. We got to slow them down. We don't have a whole lot of options. So the screen game is our option and something we feel like we could do. Now, maybe they just have a bad read on how efficiently they could block these things. Or maybe they just lost a whole bunch of one-on-ones in that game on Saturday. Banks lost a lot of them. He lost a lot of them. Trying to block screens.
I've heard about this.
Yes, just trying to block screens, right? So I feel like it's now become this big side topic, big side topic now, where people see this and they all of a sudden freak out and they start, yelling about screen game on the internet and all this stuff. I'm not mad that they're calling it. I want Nebraska to be able to do this. Nebraska, frankly, needs to be able to do this because it serves as some sort of an extension of their run game. I shouldn't even say that. It's just the way to get yards. Like they feel like it's a way to get them yards, right? And they haven't been able to execute it this year. If Nebraska runs the ball runs the ball however many percent of the time, but runs into the back of the line of scrimmage every single time and gets stuffed for 0 yards, do you want them to stop doing it? No, it's called committing to the run, right? Same idea here. Nebraska has to be able to do this stuff.
But get your guys in some space when you don't have a lot of time to get them in space.
They just have to be able to do it. I don't want them to stop doing it. They have to be able to do it. And how do you how do you do it? You do it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you get better? You just do it.
In that clip, sort of towards the beginning, there's some, I don't know, there's some sighing or some body language.
There's definitely an acknowledgement that Sat's taking it on the chin right now.
And I don't know if it's, yeah, he needs to cut that out, or if it's one of those, yeah, guy on his couch doesn't know football the way I know football. I know it's one or the other. I don't know which one it is.
There was a little bit of a defense, I think, of Satterfield, which is, hey, look, we got the look for screen, and so we ran screen. Right? But at a certain point, maybe you're going back to the well a little bit too much.
I'm with you where it didn't bother me that they ran it. It bothers me that it's not working, obviously, but even more so that last drive where it's like, okay, we need a touchdown here. Need about 50 yards. Two screens. Don't love that. Don't love that.
Text from the 308.
Hi, 308.
I have an opinion right now because I have an opinion regarding this.
Intro's not ready.
So you can always send in your opinions for the record.
Okay.
You just don't always get a prize for them. So, you feel free to send in your opinions. We prefer that you do.
Many people do.
Jeff writes in. He says, I go back and forth. Yes, you do need it, but also if Banks can't block it, then stop putting him in that position.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure they see it in practice and like it works in practice and they're like, okay, we're going to run this here. Are you ready? Yeah, coach, I'm ready. Not ready at all.
Wow, I missed this Padilla thread about screens.
Yeah, Padilla had one. His count was a little different than mine, but I defer to his brain.
Went back and watched every Nebraska passing snap against Ohio State. 9 screen/line of scrimmage passing plays, 8 completions and a drop for a total of 4 yards. The only successful play was a 10-yard gain by Barney. Yes, that was in my screen log. Nair made the block to spring it. Bonner broke a tackle on one for a 3-yard gain. I remember that. That was in my screen log. The rest were all tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Credit to Ohio State. Not sure if there was something about the way Nebraska sets it up or what, but the Buckeyes seemed ready for every single one. Cody Simon made some great plays, but Nebraska didn't execute nearly well enough to counter that. There's a couple more stats in here, which we can get to in a second. But you know what? You know what's funny? You just triggered something else in my head. Will Howard, after the game on Saturday, made reference to it felt like Nebraska was always blitzing right into their runs. And then Jacobs just said, well, it felt like Ohio State was just ready for what Nebraska. Now, Nebraska doesn't have a whole lot of diversity in what they're doing in their offense right now.
I sure don't, Connor.
So maybe it's easy to be ready for that sort of thing if the situation dictates it. But like Will Howard almost accused Nebraska of cheating. He almost accused Nebraska of cheating.
Boy, how'd they knew we were going to run that play?
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, don't you think? Like, oh boy, what are we doing? What are we doing now? Yeah, but pretty much every single one of them went for negative yards or 0 yards. Beyond the screens, Raiola went 1 for 1 on check down for 6 yards, 2 for 2 on jet sweeps for 21 yards, 0 for 2 on spikes and throwaways, 10 yards. Target depth, 7 for 7, 57 yards, 1 defensive pass interference on 11 through 20 yards, 3 for 8, 64 yards, an interception and a defensive pass interference and a drop, and then 0 for 4 on deep balls. So there could be a little bit more frequency, I think, is to Jacob's point on some of the stuff that is not in the extremely short line of scrimmage passing. A little bit, just introduce some more concepts, but there's a line there, right? So here's that guy's opinion, by the way, from the 308.
Hello again, 308.
I have an opinion. Coach Rule seems to secretly listen to Husker Talk Radio to get a better pulse on the fan base so he could speak to us like he does his players with the press. Hey, that I don't think he sits around and listens to sports talk radio, but he knows what the narratives are. 100% he knows what the narratives are.
I believe there is a conversation that goes on in that building once or twice a week. Hey, what are they saying about me?
Yeah.
What are they saying about us?
He knows what the narratives are. He's scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
He gets back from the game on Saturday night after the long road trip, and he has a beer and he starts scrolling. That's what happens. Pretty much guaranteed.
Tag him in your stuff next time.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Allan Bell is up next. Talk some NFL and more on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Allan Bell, the AB3 on the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Joined now on the 42 Degrees Source hotline by Allan Bell, driving the line. AB, hello. How are you?
Hello, sir. Doing fantastic. You doing all right?
Good. What are you doing? What's going on today?
Well, you know what? I'm actually going into a car wash right now, so that's always exciting.
Car wash? We're gonna lose you.
Oh no, we got Wi-Fi. We're good.
Oh, okay. All right. That's nice. Are the car washes are the car washes as plentiful in the Nashville area as they are here in the Omaha area? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, they are. And like the big thing now is like joining like one of those clubs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So apparently there must be a lot of money in car washes because I'm with you. Like they just popped up out of nowhere.
Did you just get done getting lectured by the 22-year-old kid who's like, you have to get a membership, otherwise I'm going to lose my job or something like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then he started going into like, well, it looks like your fuel injector. I'm like, okay, enough. All right, I just want a car wash. I don't need any tips over here. AutoZone.
All right, World Series. We're 3 games in. How have you done so far, by the way, on the betting angles for the World Series?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I've been very lucky. So game 1, I had the over of 8.5, which it took only a grand slam and extra innings to get.
Pretty awesome. Yep.
And then last night I had a parlay. So the Steelers team total over 19.5. All right. And then I moved the total down 8.5 to 5.5. And we got a 2-run home run in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky,
man. Those are incredible wins. Those are ones you celebrate because, how they talk about in baseball season, there's 162 games and 50 of them are going to be wins, 50 of them are going to be losses, and then the rest of them are just like, I don't know. That was one you were supposed to lose. By all the rules, you were supposed to lose, and you stole one.
Absolutely. I mean, both of them, right? And then I'm kicking myself. I'm like, okay, well, apparently Freddie Freeman's had a home run in 5 straight games, so I don't know why I'm not betting that. But I'll tell you this. Freddie Freeman obviously has been doing his thing. Mookie Betts getting hit is on fire, man. It's incredible, the postseason that Mookie Betts has had. So if anybody's betting anything tonight, I mean, look at Freddie, but look at Mookie.
The Dodgers are plus 124. They're the underdog tonight to get a sweep. We oftentimes, it's a Dodgers bullpen game tonight. We oftentimes don't see the full-on sweep. We get the gentleman's sweep. What are we looking at either tonight? And then you could, if you think the Yankees are going to win tonight, then there's probably some action that you could get tomorrow as well.
Yeah. So, all right. So there have been 39 series in Major League Baseball postseason, not just World Series postseason, of a best of 7 where a team's up 3-0. Okay. 38 of those 39, all right, the team that was up 3-0 won. The only team that won was the 0-4 Red Sox.
That's right.
ALCS, right? So out of those 39, 31 were sweeps. I'm just betting the Dodgers. You're going to give me money to bet the Dodgers. It's worth the price of admission. If I lose the bet, I lose the bet. But why would I not bet that? You know what I mean? I
think there was a number 2, Allan, where only 2 of those 39 only got to 6 games, right? So it's either ending tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's literally never happened, right? In a World Series where a team came back from down 0-3. Yeah. So, I mean, you could just, you could bet the Dodgers series, although I'm sure that price is just out of the roof, but even still, man. I'm perfectly fine now just betting the Dodgers. And if you're going to give me plus money tonight, then that means you're probably going to give me plus money tomorrow night.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just keep doing that.
Hey, I'm sure there was a lot of people who bet the 16 to beat, there was that one guy who's I knew the 16 was going to beat the 1. You just gotta, you just gotta say, all right, you tip your cap, you won this one, but going with the odds is probably the way to roll.
Oh yeah. There is that one guy who knew that UMBC, the Golden Retrievers, were taking Virginia out, maybe.
Exactly. Or who was the team that beat Purdue? Fairleigh Dickinson? Was it that?
Yeah. They had a hunch.
Yeah, there's that one guy. He's like, I bet him plus 1,300 on the money line. No big deal.
I watch every Fairleigh Dickinson game. There's this dude.
All right, let's go to the NFL. A couple questions for you from over the weekend. First of all, how do you recover if you are the guy who is waving the fans off goodbye in the Bears Commanders Hail Mary, and then eventually reacts to get in on the play, only to tip the ball to the receiver who caught it in the end zone for a Hail Mary and a game-winning touchdown? Tyreek Stevenson, I think you probably just have to cut him at this point. I don't know what you do. You can't come back from that.
There's only one answer, and what that is today or tomorrow, you host the largest charity fundraiser for Thanksgiving or Christmas in the community possible. That's the only way. Like, this man made compound errors out here, dude. A brutal look. Yeah, brutal look, man. Like, you have to pay this one out of your wallet, and you have to help a lot of people out, because that's the only way to come back.
That's a great way to do it. Just immediately open up a foundation. Just get involved in the community right away.
Hey, and you got to go the old school. Like, remember when like a player would leave or like get traded or retire, and they bought the front page of the newspaper? Like, you got to do one of those. Like, you got to apologize and announce the foundation.
Chicago, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. This one's going to cost you out of your pocket, man.
Okay. Next question is a simple one, but maybe complicated. We'll see.
Yep.
Is Russell Wilson good at quarterback?
Yes, he is. He is. And he's good because Mike Tomlin are letting him, like, they're letting him cook.
As much as we hate to say it, it's an overused phrase. They kind of are letting him cook. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also like, it's a predetermined meal. So it would be like, our wives, like, letting us, like, put together a Lunchable. You know what I mean? Like, they're letting them throw deep when it's allowed. They're letting them throw short. Like, it's perfect. Like, Arthur Smith is kind of blending this thing nicely. And I don't say anything negative about Russ, because, dude, that dime he threw to the left-hand side.
Yeah, to Pickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy still got it. You know what I mean? If he could get his legs, back, and again, I don't know if that's something that comes back as you get older. And I say that as, I'm older than Russ, I think. But, yeah, man, like, that's the only thing. But what I really loved about it, though, was at the end of the game, like, him and Justin Fields were, like, having fun together. Like, that's the biggest thing. And that's where leadership and coaching comes in with Mike Tomlin, that it's not animosity. It's just, hey, whatever helps the team, we're in for.
Yeah, man, I got to admit, I watched those first couple snaps, what was it, a couple weeks ago on the Sunday night, and I'm like, oh, boy, this is not good. He looks exceedingly competent. I don't know. They might have something going there.
They do.
We got one thing. I got one more thing before we let you go here. This is right up your alley. You gotta explain to me how in the
why the Titans are gonna win the Super Bowl.
Well, no, I'm not gonna make you explain that to me, because that's a different universe. Although they are favorites this week against the Patriots. How are the Jets favorites against the Titans or the Texans rather on Thursday night? This is the stinkiest line I have ever seen.
Yeah, the reason being is that the Texans wide receivers, like, I mean, they're just going down to injury, man. So, C.J. Stroud has no Nico Collins and now no Stephon Diggs. Even still, I agree with you. Like, what in the world is going on? And thank God that we get to go from the Giants now to the Jets. Like, I'm just loving all this. Yeah, it's a great question, man. I would say, if you're gonna bet, like, if you want to roll with the Texans, like, just go ahead and bet it now, because I would imagine the public, like, they're gonna come in on Houston, right? So, like, we could probably see this number flip.
I suppose the idea is you're just trying to bait, like, you're just trying to bait people into bet. Like, people will look at that who have bet before and they'll say, why are the Jets favorite? Like, they clearly want me to bet the Texans, so I'm gonna bet the Jets, right? Like, it's a huge mind bleeper, and like, I feel like that's what they want you to do. Like, the better team is the underdog, and it's all a huge game. It feels like.
Hey, let me tell you this. You know what? They did it last night with the Yankees, right?
Yep.
Like, they're like, hey, you kind of play those mind games.
And they had one with it was BYU and UCF over the weekend. UCF was a favorite in that game. I was like, what's happening?
Yep, 100%, man. Like, a lot of times, dude, hey, just turn that brain off, man. Just look at it. Your initial thought, you're like, oh, no, the Texans are way better than the Jets. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they have a kicker. They have a kicker who can go from 65 out at any moment. So, yeah absolutely.
How's the car looking? Feeling better?
Yeah, feeling good. We're slick and sleek going into this Tuesday. We're fired up, man. Hey, you know what? I got to give them credit. Mr. Car Wash, they got solid Wi-Fi as you go through.
Yeah, you never broke up at all. You were working perfectly the entire time. Also, shout out to the car wash company, Mr. Car Wash. What a great brand.
It really is. They got 19 people walking around. So apparently numbers are up, man. They're feeling it.
So are you pulling off to the side and getting the vacuum out and just waiting to do that before you get off the phone?
Nah, that's a lot to do on a Tuesday. You know, we're just gonna let the dust settle here. We're going for the outside appearance look of, oh yeah, no, our life is completely fine. We're not in shambles whatsoever. The Titans are solid.
you go to the old air dry. You know, just go 5 over when you're going down the road. It'll work for you.
Oh, the air dry, but then when you've got the dryer at the end, you got 60 seconds. You got to time the movement to get the whole car.
Oh yeah, you're waiting that whole time. All right, AB, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your week. Talk to you later.
All right, appreciate it, boys. You have a good.
Allan Bell, driving the line, also a frequent user of Mr. Car Wash.
I cannot tell you the relief I felt when he said, yes, car washes are just as prevalent here as they are in your
I know. I was
woods.
concerned that something was truly wrong with us.
Right. I'm like, God, are we just suckers for a car wash here? Or
yeah, I feel like if you're not in the club at this point, you're not doing anything right. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with the odd news via Josh. I know one or two of the stories today. I'm excited.
Yeah, you helped. We really appreciate that here at the Odd News.
I just sent you this headline. I didn't help really.
Well, you'll help by
I have a take.
Yucking it up with me about it.
That's right. We'll do that next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? the Odd News with Oddson.
Okay, time for the odd news, Josh.
That's right, Connor.
Let's get it. Let's ride, Steelers Nation.
We begin in outer space.
Oh, we never begin there.
I know. Luggage maker Samsonite.
I knew I forgot it. I knew there was an S in there.
It was way off. It started with an S, though. Samsonite shot a piece of luggage up to 130,000 feet to test the brand's durability.
And
not only did the pricey roller pass the test with flying colors, the whole stunt was caught on video.
Holy crap. Okay, so what a move by Samsonite. Because what they're telling you is that if your luggage has damage to it, the airport has taken excessive force to your luggage.
They were trying to do something.
That's right. And so did they put like clothes and stuff on the inside and everything was fine?
The Proxys Global Carry-On Spinner, which currently retails for $425, was
$425 suitcase. What? No,
I prefer a sensible duffel. Was catapulted towards space before descending to Earth, where it crash landed in spectacular fashion, according to footage released by the company. After enduring temperatures as low as 85 below, the suitcase was able to descend from the stratosphere at controlled speeds thanks to a self-deploying parachute system.
Oh, okay. Well, it landed softly.
The feat was accomplished in partnership with marketing agency Sent Into Space. That's the name of the marketing agency, which specializes in sending products sky high to see if they can survive the adventure.
What a grift.
Exactly.
What a grift.
The bag is said to be the company's lightest and toughest ever, weighing just 4.5 pounds. The outer shell made of rock skin, a material created for the brand with recyclable, multi-layered, and highly responsive material.
Okay, so I want a new suitcase, Josh. I do. Because my suitcase is one of the I'm interested in those kind of hard case suitcases.
Now, looking at the pictures that accompanied this story, it looks like that is what this suitcase is.
But
a bit of a hard case.
I don't want to spend $450 on it, so I won't be doing that. But I am in the market. And I will say, if you shoot the suitcase into space, and it comes back and everything is as was, I am more likely to buy it. Good job, a marketing team.
Sent Into Space has launched a wide range of products into space over the years, from blenders to Barbie dolls. Samsonite's instructions to the company were simple and bold, Dr. Chris Rose said.
Chris Rose.
He's the head of projects at Sent Into Space.
Also host of the best damn sports show, period.
That's right. That Tom Arnold is hilarious. The brand asked him to slam the suitcase into a mountain, and that's what he did.
To a mountain.
Incredible.
Text from Cats Are Funny.
Hi, Cats Are Funny.
Remove the parachute, and I'll be impressed.
Well, then you get into like burning up in the atmosphere and all that, like science.
You don't want that. Wow, great story.
We go to Georgia. Georgia Police Department.
Walking back to Georgia.
Urging couples seeking to, quote unquote, reconcile. They would like you to kindly, quote unquote, get a room rather than copulating in the grass between businesses. The Livonia Police Department said officers responded to a public indecency complaint reported in the grass between McDonald's and Raceway near I-85. In a Facebook post, the police department said, quote, well, the stupidity of some never ceases to amaze us, so we have more helpful hints for those of you visiting our wonderful city. If you decide to exit I-85 with your life partner while on a road trip to reconcile your relationship, please don't reconcile in the grass between McDonald's and Raceway. Get a room, go home, don't reconcile in broad daylight in the grass behind the street.
Had to be done right there.
Right there. You know,
interesting.
When the moment's right, the moment's right.
I guess.
I feel the love in this McDonald's right now.
In this field next to a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, we go to Lisbon, Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
Where an Iowa man's passion for pizza brought him to a pizza ranch in the village of Lisbon on Friday.
Yeah.
Jason Hulkus said he got an idea 10 years ago while talking to a pizza ranch fanatic. Okay.
All right, where are we going here?
He made a goal to eat at all 224 pizza ranches across 14 states.
Yeah.
And he's almost finished. Friday in Lisbon marked Hulkus's 221st location visited.
Only 3 pizza ranches left.
That's right. He said the flavor isn't the only thing he loves at the pizza chain.
It's the variety.
Quote, there's nothing quite like the environment, of Pizza Ranch. The friendly service, the really good food, and of course, it's a community type feel, you know?
It is.
Every location is unique in their own way because they're tied to their own community. That's what makes each one of them special. Hulkus said he will get to the finish line next week in Sioux City, Iowa.
Wow.
He also said there will be new locations to head to in the future.
There will be. So now this is his thing. He has to keep up with every time a pizza ranch.
They're going to bring him to the opening of every pizza ranch, I bet.
I would.
Hey, Jason, we're opening up a new one in Waukesha. You want to come on down?
That would be their use basically of shooting stuff into space.
That's right.
We have the pizza ranch guy.
All right. Hey, we're going to put Jason in this rocket with a bag of fried chicken and a medium meat lovers and see if he comes back down.
I know we've had this discussion before, but I would love to have. So we have one pizza ranch here in our fine town, right?
I believe so. I believe it's on 84th. I believe it's technically in La Vista, right?
Omaha. Yeah. 3010 South 84th.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one in Omaha. There's one in Lincoln. I mean,
there's one in Council Bluffs.
There's definitely one in Council Bluffs. There's probably a couple in Council Bluffs. Columbus, Grand Island, Kearney, Lincoln, Norfolk, North Platte, Omaha, and West Point. Wow, a West Point pizza ranch. Who would have thunk it?
Doing big things.
How many what do you think is the state with the most pizza ranches?
Oh, terrific question. So there's 14 states with a pizza ranch, which was very surprising.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I will guess Iowa.
That's right. 69 pizza ranches in Iowa. 69 pizza ranches in Iowa. That's how I first found out about Pizza Ranch when I went to college in Iowa for a day. Whatever.
Now Heath is on our YouTube chat.
What?
Papillion is closed. It's just the one across from Mangelson's now.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did you know that there is one opening? So the next one to open will be in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, coming soon. So that's where this guy will have to go.
Thief River Falls.
So, by the way,
there's a story behind that town name.
Pizza ranches by state ranked. Iowa 69, Minnesota 44, about to be 45. South Dakota 19, North Dakota 14. Missouri leads Nebraska in pizza ranches, 9-8.
Whoa.
Nebraska 8. Wisconsin 29, by the way. Illinois 8. Kansas 7. Michigan 4. Colorado 1. Tennessee 1.
I think Tennessee is an untapped market for Pizza Ranch.
100%. Montana 4 and Wyoming 2. Where is the singular location in Tennessee? Hendersonville.
Why do I know that name?
Probably traveled through there somewhere along the way.
Tennessee.
Maybe you stopped at their pizza ranch.
What do they have? How do I even Google this? What do they have in Hendersonville?
Yeah, you look that up during the break.
Is there a team there?
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. So we'll be back. The noon hour is coming. We'll talk about the weight in which Nebraska has on their shoulders. Not going into a bowl game. It's very heavy, Josh.
Yeah.
Back after this and Pizza Ranch Talk on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Oh! Let's get back to the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
People forget that.
That you wear ticklish underpants?
Ticklish underpants. Yeah. Very funny. Very, very good. Welcome back. Noon hour of the Conor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. A reminder that this week's Zone deal is to Le Voltaire, locally owned French restaurant serving the Omaha community for 22 years. Unpretentious down-home cooking, serving classic French dishes, handcrafted cocktails, and more. This week's Zone deal, two $25 vouchers, which is a $50 value for just $25 on sale this Friday at 9. Friday is November 1st, by the way. Also, you can listen to this show this week. We'll have a couple opportunities for you to win them for $0.99.
What?
That means free. $0.
$0 and 0 cents.
You don't have to pay us any cents.
If you would like to give us $1,
also, Josh,
you are more than welcome to.
Another look forward to things that we're giving you this week.
Oh,
I have
an opinion.
Is a segment that will happen tomorrow
with a new intro.
Interesting. I have I have 4 passes to the Blur tailgate this weekend.
The Blur tailgate?
The Blur tailgate for the UCLA game.
In Lincoln.
For
the football.
the
Against
game,
the Bruins.
The game starts at 2:30. It's not like it's an 11 o'clock game where it's like you got to be there at 6 a.m. just to get the word the tailgate. No. This is a 2:30 game. You make your way down to Lincoln. You go to the Blur tailgate. I got 4 passes. We'll give them away at some point this week. So you're going to want to listen to this show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Yep. It's the truth. It's the truth. All right, Josh. Couple Nebraska football related questions for the listeners. First of all, how big of a weight is it on Nebraska's program that it hasn't been to a bowl game in many, many years?
I would love to say that we at Nebraska strive to go 1-0 each week and all that, but there's a weight to it. It's a thing.
Do you feel like it is a wall that Nebraska has been trying to, they've been taking their little ice pick and trying to knock it down, sledgehammer, trying to knock it down. And they, for whatever reason, just can't knock it over. Because it does feel that way. And we'll add this in. Nebraska has a very winnable game this weekend against UCLA. Many think that this is the only time remaining on the schedule that Nebraska will be the favorite in a football game. I don't know that for sure to be the case, but some are saying this is a winnable game for Nebraska.
Last best shot.
So there's a pressure that goes along with not being in a bowl game for a long time, and this being a ripe opportunity to get that 6th win. It all adds up to, Josh, this is the biggest game ever. This is the biggest game ever. Nebraska needs to play like they played.
I walked right into this.
I'm sorry. This is the biggest game ever. What do you think the energy is going to be like on Saturday? Because I think it's going to be pretty good. There'll be that fall kind of, I don't know what the weather looks like, honestly. But
there's going to be.
It's November.
I think people are going to be
58 degrees.
Oh my.
60 in Lincoln with a little rain. Like it'll have that fall twinge to it. It's Nebraska and UCLA and Lincoln for the first time since 2012.
Yeah, it's not one of the okay, I've seen this team come in here. Hold on. I'm sick of playing Minnesota. I'm sick of playing Rutgers. This
is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
The Super Bowl has arrived early yet again. This is the Super Bowl.
No, this can't be the case, Connor.
Nebraska has to play well. Nebraska has to play well on Saturday. Because, so this goes back to this conversation as well. Nebraska has shown two vastly different processes over the last 2 weeks, right? Obviously, they got the same result. They lost.
People forget.
One game they lost by 50, and the other, because 49 is 50.
That's right.
And the other one they lost by 4. So they're different. But they still took L's. Do you trust Nebraska to be more like the team that you saw against Ohio State, or do you trust them to be more like the team that you saw against Indiana? Or is the answer, like it usually is, somewhere in between? But here's the thing. You can't just say somewhere in between, because that's everywhere. That's like saying it's somewhere in between here and like Lincoln going east all the way around the world. It's somewhere in there. That's a big range. Big range, Josh.
Big range.
So you can't just say that. It has to be a lot closer to Ohio State than it was against Indiana. That's for sure. And now there have been, I think, 2 occasions, and maybe we're letting results cloud this a little bit. And
we usually do.
Yeah, but the results are the results. Nebraska played an absolutely inspired and outstanding first half. Well, you can call it the whole game, just if we're just doing games, right? Against Colorado. Some of the best they've looked this year. I don't know that I'd necessarily say the same. I think if you saw the team that played Colorado against Ohio State, maybe Nebraska actually wins that game. I'm not sure. That was even more inspired. But the problem is you now know that it's in Nebraska's bag somewhere. That shot's in there. That's what makes golf so addicting, Josh.
You're chasing that forever.
This is exactly what makes golf so addicting. You get up to that tee and you suck. You're the worst player ever. You can't hit it straight. And all you can think about when you're fetching your ball out of the creek or out of this open field is, remember that one time I always hit it straight at the range. Remember that one time when I played this hole when I hit it 280 straight down the pipe? You'll never forget that. Nebraska hit it 280 straight down the pipe against Colorado. And they hit it pretty good against Ohio State as well. You'll take it. That shot is in the bag. And so Nebraska needs to be that team for the last 4 games of the season. I think that it is imperative that they are close to that the last 4 games of the season in order to sell progress. It's buried in the number, right? It's in the number of wins that you ultimately end up getting on the season, but it's also in how it looks and how you play. And Nebraska needs to play well because it's there. The opportunity is out there for them to play well. What?
I thought I turned my mic off. I'm sorry.
You probably turn your mic on to cough.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Takes?
If it is a spectrum,
yes,
with Indiana on one side, Ohio State on the other,
I think that's pretty wide. Yep.
Yes, it is very wide. I imagine Saturday we see the team closer to Ohio State. Hopefully, is this a turning point? Is this a turning point? Is this a turning point? I don't even think it needs to be a turning point right now. It just needs to be, the process is kind of working. I'm going to go out there on Saturday and play with more confidence. And hey, we played with confidence and we beat UCLA.
That's what you hope the reaction is.
Why don't we go out there and play with confidence and beat USC, Wisconsin, Iowa? Why a bowl game? I hope this is that stacking of things that they always talk about.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
Frankly, it needs to be. Mm-hmm. That's why this is the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of all time. You should have the big game feelings in your tum-tum by Saturday.
No.
But in a different way.
This isn't Colorado. Is this Colorado? I think you might be right.
You think about it, Josh.
I don't like it.
You don't like it when I'm right?
No.
Very few do. I get it.
I just hate every game's the biggest game. We railed against that when people were like, UTEP's the biggest game of all time, Connor.
Hey, you are in a spot now where you have done nothing in the first 8 games to dispel the notion that you are that you are not making progress. You have nothing to dispel that, right? You're 5-3. You've done the minimum, the absolute bare minimum of what's required. What did we talk about at the beginning of the season? After 7 games, 5-2, bare minimum.
Yeah.
That was built in with the Ohio State loss. So 5-3 is what we were saying, right? Bare minimum, 5-3. They've done the bare minimum. And so Nebraska needs to do more than the bare minimum in the final 4 games. More than the bare minimum is more than 6 for the record. They need to get to more than 6.
Yeah,
the bare minimum is 6. If they don't get 6, we got problems. All right, officially, we got problems. But if they, and then every win beyond that is just continuing to do more.
Beat UCLA, get bowl eligible. We'll meet at Grand China Buffet. You get that monkey off your back, and then down the stretch of the final 3, quote unquote, beat a team you're not supposed to.
Is it possible? Is it possible that the bowl game drought is this wall that exists right now? And when that wall is knocked down, this program flies after that?
Oh.
I don't know. I do feel like it's a weight. As much as I feel like the expectation here for Nebraska should be greater, I feel like inside that program, not getting to a bowl weighs heavily on their minds. It's that, and then you go from there because you can't get anything else without starting there. You have to get to 6 before you start competing for conference championships and blah 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 blah.
Right. Indiana is kind of an anomaly. You don't just flip it like that. You don't just go like for like UCF did and then win a fictitious national championship the next year like UCF did. Like there is incremental growth in most programs, and there's a lot of stuff on the walls and in the halls at the facility over there.
There is
a lot of look at all the things we've done. And
not going to a bowl game for almost a decade is not one of those things.
The longest drought of any Power 4 team. Like,
what is the most recent piece of hardware that Nebraska has acquired?
Great question.
I mean,
a Heroes trophy.
So yeah, you have that, but you have to give it back when you lose. They've lost. So they for a year had a Heroes trophy. The most recent trophy that they've acquired is probably from the 2015 Foster Farms Bowl against UCLA. Yeah. They haven't won a rivalry game except for one, which they've already given back.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Generations of players have walked through those halls and have anything added to it except for academic All-Americans and
got those
all conference accomplishments. Very few. Things like that.
Yeah, there's not like a Bronco Nagurski or something. Bolitnikov.
No, there is not.
Like, yeah.
Even a conference player of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be.
They haven't added anything to the trophy case in a decade.
What a great week to exercise that particular demon, the bowl demon, against the last team.
Now you don't get a trophy for making one, but you get your opportunity to get a trophy by winning one, and you can only win one if you're in one.
I have heard that before.
Yeah, that might be true. Here is John Thune sucks nuts.
Hi, John.
On the on Twitter. I like reading it every time. It's funny.
That's his name.
John Thune. But he has an opinion on John Thune.
Yeah.
I will be in attendance this Saturday for UCLA. The crowd better be, all caps, out of its freaking minds. MINDS apostrophe S.
Oh.
Making my way down from the Pizza Ranch in Brookings. Hashtag GBFR. Corn emoji. Yeah. Let's go. We got to get that. We got to get these big games. It's a big game. Happer's Meme Guy writes in.
Hi, Happer's Meme Guy.
Saturday is giving off big time. We had a winnable game vibes. Not from the coaching staff would never. They're not doing that. They would never make that mistake.
This staff is very careful.
This staff would never make that mistake. I should say unfortunately. Fortunately, this staff would never make that mistake. But the fan base makes it all the time. I guarantee that Nebraska would go to a bowl game. They won their 5th game on October 28th last year. They didn't do it. I thought they had 4 games that they could win. They didn't win any of them. All right. So you let the Michigan State game slip. What's next? Maryland? They got Maryland.
It's not September.
Wisconsin? They got Wisconsin.
Now,
Iowa? It's Iowa.
How much are you in your own head going, I don't know which team's going to show up?
A lot.
Okay. A lot?
A lot. It's hard to know, Josh. Mm-hmm. The theory is that this holds, right? That it holds, that Nebraska players have now understood, oh my gosh, this is what it takes. Mm-hmm. Whatever that was, can we repeat it week to week? Is it muscle memory? I'm pretty certain that it'll be closer to Ohio State than it would be against Indiana, than it was against Indiana. I'm fairly certain of that. Is that going to be enough for Nebraska to win a game? You'd hope so. But remember, we've now seen some really good examples of really, really good football. And that shot is in the bag somewhere.
UCLA has 2 wins.
Yeah.
2. Yeah. Sal asked a very good question.
Hey, Sal.
Trying to think what the most portable element from week to week is for this team. Hard to pin down, he says.
I still trust their ability to stop the run, even though it has gashed at inopportune times this year. It has been broken at inopportune times this year. I think that is pretty, you can pretty much count on that. Nebraska's got the ability to, which should give you confidence that Nebraska is going to be good against Ohio State or Iowa and Wisconsin. So even if they don't win this week, which they should, then they'll still have a chance in those games too. I think it's that. I think their defense is pretty good still.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great, but I think it's good.
Just looking at the numbers in front of me, UCLA very bad at many things.
Many, many things, Josh. Glad you said that.
This is the one.
Winnable game. I had a winnable game.
Gotta have it.
Jeff writes in
UCLA defense versus Nebraska offense, if I may.
Yes.
Eckel rate.
Oh no.
UCLA 132. Nebraska's offense.
So you're saying defensive Eckel, meaning every time is that what you're saying?
Nebraska's offense versus UCLA's defense. UCLA's defense is 132nd.
That's, I believe, last.
Nebraska is 11th.
So that's just getting the Eckel. So they allow more opponents to reach the 40 than anyone. And Nebraska gets to the 40 better than almost anybody.
That's right.
As we know, Josh, Nebraska doesn't score on their Eccles very much.
That's right. Now, don't ask me points per Eckel.
Yeah.
Don't ask that follow-up question.
Josh.
Connor.
Yeah, points per Eckel. That's what really matters.
I was afraid you'd ask that. Nebraska's offense, 116th. UCLA's defense, 115th.
It's frankly incredible.
War of attrition there.
People forget that Nebraska literally had a drive start on its 7, on the Ohio State 7 this week, and scored 0 points. 0.
Yeah.
Their running back tried to jump in from the 5. That was stupid. Stupid stuff like that gets you killed, Josh. Stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a Super Bowl. Just wanted to make that clear.
Offensive success rate, UCLA, 133rd in the country.
No. Yeah, they don't have much of that. Mr. Garbers. Their quarterback's name starts with Garb. That should tell you everything.
Right.
Quick quote alert before we take a break and get to NFL reaction, overreaction. Here is Nebraska defensive back Sear Wright.
The actor?
The actor. He was asked about his thoughts on watching Dylon run around a whole bunch on Saturday.
Dylon.
What do you think? Quote, He finna be out there like Michael Vick next week.
Michael Vick. Huh. Is Dylon a cheat code on Madden?
I don't know. Maybe he finna do that. Maybe he is. Maybe this is the new Dylon. He finna be out there like Michael Vick next week.
Also, I need the family to check in on Dylan from time to time at home and all that implies.
Not like that, Michael Vick, Josh.
These are the things you think of when you think of Michael Vick.
Yeah. It's amazing that young Sierre knows about Michael Vick. Michael Vick was probably, his career was probably over by the time he started realizing football existed.
That's a good question. Kids know him as like the mythology of the video game, right? Like that's where kids know him. Right?
When did Michael Vick's career end in the NFL?
I feel like he went somewhere after the Eagles.
He did. Actually, two other teams, the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, I wanted to say Steelers, but I wasn't confident enough to say it.
Michael Vick last played the NFL in 2015. I mean, that was 9 years ago, although it doesn't seem like it was that long. I'm glad the kids know about Michael Vick. What a great look for society. For football, Michael Vick, Josh. The kids definitely don't know about Michael Vick at Virginia Tech.
No.
They don't know about that.
You had to rewire your brain when you watched that.
That was a special deal.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you think Dylan Raiola is finna be like that? Poll question.
What would you like me to ask?
Is Dylan Raiola finna be like Michael Vick?
Dylan Raiola.
Yep.
Oh, forgot the O.
Finna. Finna.
Two N's. Yeah.
Yep. Put that up at Happer Show. NFL reaction, overreactions coming up next on 1620 The Zone. I have one more Dylan Raiola quote for you.
Is this going to have more slang from the children that I don't quite understand?
There's no use of finna in this. Nebraska quarterback Dylan we'll be talking about this tomorrow a little bit. Nebraska QB Dylan Raiola on the offensive inefficiencies that have led to the criticism of OC Marcus Satterfield. Quote, I know Coach Satterfield is getting a lot of heat right now for plays that he's calling. I think it's unfair to him. He can't go out there and make the plays.
Okay.
I believe that to be true. To continue, he can't go out there and make plays and do everything that he's coaching us to do. So as players and as the quarterback of this offense, I take the responsibility for that and for us to go out there and execute. That's not his fault.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
It's not Marcus Satterfield's fault.
Oh.
I appreciate young Dylon. He loves to say that things are his fault. Some things are his fault, by the way. I wish other people would say that things are his fault more. But I think it would be probably not very good for him to say everybody shares equal blame.
Right.
You know, like sometimes you just got to take responsibility publicly. We might dive into that quote a little bit the rest of today and tomorrow. But of course, we have to talk about Big Justice and the Rizzler and the AJ and Big AJ. No, just kidding. NFL reaction, overreaction. The Riders, well,
are they cooking?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
Let's see what they got for us this week.
Take number 1.
Yep.
Sean Payton hates the Carolina Panthers.
Now, why would Sean Payton hate the Carolina Panthers? What are the writers talking about?
Former division rival.
Okay. So, situation alert. The Broncos led by 21 at pretty much the start of the fourth quarter in their game against the Panthers this weekend. 4th and 8 on the Panther 42-yard line. This would have been a 59-yard field goal. In the thin air of Denver, Colorado, it's makeable, right? You got Will Lutz, I think, kicking back there. It's kickable. 59-yard field goal. The Broncos, or they could have punted it because they're up by 21 in the fourth quarter. Or they could have gone for it. They could have done a litany of things. But what they decided to do was fake the field goal. Fake the field goal. It did not work, for the record. Then the Broncos get an interception and they get the ball back and run into a similar situation. It's 4th and 2 now on the 43 on the Panthers 43. There are 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the football game. What does Sean Payton do? Do you kick the field goal? It'd be once again about a 60-yarder. Do you go for it?
Thin air.
Logical, right? Go for it, run it, 2 yards, sit on the ball game. Maybe you score, maybe you don't. A lot of things you could do to get 2 yards, right, Josh?
Right. You could just jump for it.
You could.
Saw that.
Here's what they did. Double pass. They did a double pass. They threw it out to one of their wide receivers, and then he passed it. They did a trick play. It worked, but they didn't end up scoring on the drive because Cortland Sutton fumbled at the 1. There is your evidence. Sean Payton absolutely slammed the gas pedal twice.
Sticking it to him.
In the last 14 minutes of this game where they were up by 3 touchdowns against the worst team in the NFL by a mile. Why? Does Sean Payton hate the Carolina Panthers? I am forced to say, yes, he does. This is an appropriate reaction. I don't know why, but he does. Clearly.
You've shown me enough evidence. I'm ready to rule this is a proper reaction.
Thank you.
Sean Payton hates the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, there you go. Question number 2. What do we got?
Firing Robert Saleh made the Jets worse.
All right, I have some more evidence for you. The Jets, who are now 2-6 and are for some reason favorites against the Houston Texans on Thursday night. Once again, all-time weird line. They had a good defense before Robert Saleh got fired. Robert Saleh, he's a defensive guy. You know, they had a good defense. They have good defensive players. They have a good defensive core.
That was why everyone felt that they were in Aaron Rodgers away, because their defense was so good. Their running game was so good. Yeah.
Right. The defense is no longer good. Through the first 5 seasons, they were productive on the defensive side of the ball. They ranked 6th in EPA per play and 4th in points allowed per drive. In the last 3 games since Robert Saleh has been fired, and I did see a video of him at a local grocery store where people peppered him with questions. It was weird. They have fallen to last in the NFL in EPA per play and 26th in points allowed per drive. Their defense now sucks. And something clearly changed the moment that Saleh got fired. Or maybe bringing back Hassan Reddick has done this entire thing. I don't know.
Also, if you look up statistically, their running game is also very bad.
They have played every card. They traded for Devontae Adams. They fired the coach. They somehow convinced Hassan Reddick to come out of hiding. They have done everything. They played every card in their pocket. They keep sucking worse. This team is hosed, but if their defense isn't good, they're more hosed than we could ever imagine. They might not win 4 games if their defense is no good. This team might go from being, they're a tough luck 2 and whatever, to no, they suck real bad. So, yes, they made them worse.
We might address some of these things in the next segment. Not sure what we're doing in the next segment.
Interesting.
But it might come up.
All right.
Number 3, even though it has possibly the best team in the AFC East is the worst division in football.
Well, the AFC East.
Go ahead. No, sorry, I'm thinking out loud.
I mean, go ahead. Let's think it through, Josh. So the AFC East houses the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, and the New York Jets.
I wasn't sure of everyone's records.
Everyone is 2-5 or worse, besides the Bills, who are 6-2.
Yeah, I think this is correct.
So this got me thinking, what is the earliest that anybody has ever clinched a division?
Do you know the answer?
I do.
Oh, okay. I will not look it up.
The earliest that anyone has ever clinched a division is week 11. Which is absurdly early.
11.
It would be in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks. Not happening in this case.
There'd be 7 to play.
The math doesn't work here because here the last team that did it was the undefeated Patriots in 2007 in that same AFC East. Other teams that also did it clinched in week 11. The 04 Eagles, the 97 Niners, and the 85 Bears. Each of these, so the 07 Patriots lost in the Super Bowl, the 04 Eagles lost in the Super Bowl, the 97 Niners lost in the conference championship game, and the 85 Bears won the Super Bowl. So only one of those teams won the Super Bowl, by the way. Obviously, the Bills aren't going to do quite that, but it won't be too much longer after that. If they feel like it's necessary, the Bills could probably just sit on their butts from like week 15 all the way through the end of the season. They're going to
rotate guys in and out, get them rest.
Josh Allen can play a half, whatever they want to do with him. This division
go to Cabo with Haley.
Incredibly incompetent with the exception of the Bills. Even though it has the Bills, it's still top to bottom the worst division in the NFL. I believe that. And the NFC West is close. But this division is horrible.
That's a different kind of terrible, right? Everyone is at 4-4 except the Rams, who are at 3-4. Wild.
That's a division where everyone's fine, but nobody's good. Mm-hmm. This is a division where one team is really good and everybody else is ass.
Ass.
No, it's ass. Just ass, Josh. Total ass.
Not the good kind.
Yeah. Two more.
Mike McCarthy is definitely fired after the season, possibly during the season.
Mike McCarthy is definitely fired after the season.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. This is not an overreaction. This is an appropriate reaction. Possibly during the season. I could see it.
Gosh.
I could see it. They're going down a bad road here.
I almost think they're too far gone to do that.
To fire the coach? You think that's a button they could have used already?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When's their
Their bye.
Yeah, they've already had their bye.
Yeah.
They
Enjoy your
lost
bye.
to the Niners coming off the bye on Sunday. Yeah, I think it might actually be too late.
He might get fired during the season.
Just as a acknowledgement of this has been a failure. I hear you, fans.
Oh, I got one. Here's a fun one for you.
Okay.
So the Cowboys, who are what 3-4 right
That's
now?
correct.
Yeah, 3-4 right now. They play the Panthers in December.
Oh.
So the Panthers are the team. If you lose to the Panthers, you're getting fired.
Uh-huh.
And it's in December. It takes place perfect. So just highlight that game. If you want to watch it, if you want to watch a coach get fired in real time. December 15th, noon, Fox, Cowboys, Panthers.
Tom Brady on the call for some reason.
Mike McCarthy's getting fired that day. There you go. There's a prediction. One more.
Well,
how topical is this?
This is
topic alert.
Possibly the most topical thing we could do.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Good job, writers.
Josh, tell people why this is topical.
I believe about 5 minutes ago, the Indianapolis Colts have announced their starter for Sunday's game. It is the very much elite Joe Flacco.
It's not Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, which I feel like everybody knew this. He sucked in college, and now he's not good in the pros. And for some reason, all these franchises, they love this idea that he could throw the ball really far and he could complete these long. He's like a boomer, but who loves the boomer bust guy? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You need a modicum of in between the boom and the
we
bust.
We live in a time in football where everyone is just throwing 3-yard dump offs. All right. Here's a stat for you.
Kind of a terrible product.
Anthony Richardson ranks 222nd in completion rate among the 225 quarterbacks who have logged at least 250 dropbacks since the year 2000.
Oh, God.
2000. He's right behind Ryan Leaf. He's right in front of Tim Tebow. Jamarcus Russell.
Tebow won a playoff game.
Jamarcus Russell is very close to him. He was 2 for 15 at halftime. 2 completions to 15 attempts. 2 for 15. He got benched. So, yes, bad. Very, very bad. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL, but now he's not really a quarterback in the NFL.
And, I mean, he benched himself literally and figuratively last week.
Yeah, took himself out. I was tired.
I need one, coach. Need a blow.
Tom writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Tom.
Christ. The Jets are going to hire McCarthy, aren't they? I hate that 13-year-old me picked this stupid team.
Oh, yeah, that feels like a match made in heaven.
Yeah. So, Woody might like that for sure. Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, guys, are we going to get to that Caitlin Clark thing today?
Might have some time on the back end of the show.
Interesting. Yeah. We'll
stay tuned.
We'll get to it. I heard she was at Iowa this weekend having fun.
Did you know 7 WNBA coaches have turned over this year? They've fired 7 WNBA coaches?
I did not know that. Is that the Caitlin Clark thing?
Well, no. She's not a coach killer. She's the All-American girl. Caitlin Clark.
That's Jenny Taft, for the record. Joel writes in.
Hi, Joel.
We're going to tie this into the worst segment ever. I am a fantasy owner of Michael Pittman Jr. And yes, indeed, Anthony Richardson is the worst quarterback. If you have any of those guys, if you're a fantasy owner of any of Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, or the white guy, what's that guy's name?
Julian Edelman.
No. He's
Rob Gronkowski.
Alec Pierce. I always want to call him Luke for some reason. He looks like a Luke.
That is a white guy.
Or Lucas or something like that. Alec Pierce. If you have any of those guys, just know if Anthony Richardson's the quarterback, which he's not anymore, they could either have 0.00 points or 50 points because they might catch a 90-yard touchdown at some point. Joe Flacco provide a bit of stability there.
Joe Flacco has been pushed out of the news cycle. It is no longer the most topical thing we could talk about. The new most topical thing we could talk about, Stephon Diggs has torn his ACL and will be out for the year.
Oh, Ouch.
A lot of things happening in that Colts-Texans game this week.
Maybe. No, it's Texans Jets.
Oh, he tore it against the Colts. I'm sorry, I was reading wrong.
Yeah. All right. That is NFL reaction overreaction. We'll be back with Josh's bottom 5 teams. More Jets talk coming up on 1620 The Zone. Almost missed it.
Yeah, I really fumbled that bag. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's time for Josh's worst 5 teams. These teams suck.
I'd love to sit here and tell you there was a lot of movement. I think there was, but I think it's the same 5 teams, just in a different order, like a vastly different order. Because I saw some things this weekend, some things I didn't like.
Okay, Josh is mad about it.
And now you're going to hear about it.
Getting very angry.
Come on, take forever.
Number 5.
Number 5 is the New England Patriots. They won a game.
Congratulations.
It was against the New York Jets, but it still counts.
It definitely counts.
Snapped a 6-game losing streak. That's good.
Yep.
Drake May's dead or something like that.
He no, he's alive.
Okay.
He's alive. He's just injured.
Okay. Sorry. Do I get those two confused?
He ran into somebody, right?
Well, it's a full contact sport. That tends to happen.
He's concussed himself.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Yep. Patriots still stink though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Minus 73 point differential.
All right.
Number 4.
Can I
please.
I just saw this quote from Nebraska practice.
Oh no.
So Tuesday, Marcus Satterfield talks, right?
Yes.
It's usually a bad day on Tuesdays for the fan base. Here's a quote that's getting a lot of responses. Nebraska OC Marcus Satterfield, this is from Sam McEwen. Nebraska OC Marcus Satterfield calls Dylan Raiola's scrambling, quote, cool. Quote, I didn't know he could run like that.
Those are going to hit different when people don't like you. If people like you...
It was the most successful part of their offense on Saturday.
Connor, that's the second biggest run they've had this season.
Oh, boy. Marcus.
Yeah, when people don't like you, those quotes are going to hit different.
He has to stop talking, I think. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just
put the coordinator day on the shelf.
Matt Rule needs to give him 10% of here, have 10% of my media navigation skills.
That's truly not good, right? Like if you're the head coach, you probably don't like that. Like because this follows up last week with the whole yards per play game, which once again, I'm not really that mad about, but it's just like, all right, come on, you just be a little better at this. This is another topic worth discussing throughout the month of November. His future. I don't know. I
would list him as doubtful right now.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good future. Doubtful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. All right. Sorry. Keep going.
That's okay. Number 4 is a team that is
Marcus Satterfield made this list?
No. Oh, that would have been funny.
That would have been funny.
Damn, missed a good bit there.
You just do work. You could do worst 5 of the weekend. And just do the worst 5 things.
The Carolina Panthers are sneaking their way up this list.
Are they on their way out?
Are
they like Willy Wonka's elevator?
They're number 4.
Wow.
They're 1-7. If the season ended today, they'd have the number 1 draft pick. And I think there's 3 teams that are actually worse than them.
Awesome.
They've lost 5 in a row.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah. It's the game. You're the team that, if we lose to the Panthers, our coach is going to get fired.
That's right.
Yeah. You don't want to be that. That's a bad spot to be in.
By the way, Daboll's on the hot seat in 2 weeks. So
Giants Panthers in Germany.
That's right.
With Machine Gun Kelly performing at halftime.
You lose that game, you're not getting back on that plane.
No, you got to find your own way home. Maybe that big truck you bought will take you home.
3. Combination of 3 and 5. Number 3.
Because balls are at number 3. The Giants are 2-6. Connor, this stat has been shared a lot, but it has not been shared on our show, so I'm going to cherry pick it and read it for everyone here. Notre Dame has scored more touchdowns at MetLife Stadium this year than the New York Giants and the New York Jets combined.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
7 touchdowns the Fighting Irish have scored at MetLife Stadium this year. 1 game. 6 for the New York football teams.
It's got to be at least 6 games, right?
Yeah, something like that.
6 to 8 games.
Mm-hmm. They're 31st. In points per game are the New York Giants.
That 2-point play last night was just chef's kiss.
They're gonna hang that in the.
Yeah, that's on the firing reel.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you fire a coach and you have to have a highlight reel that goes behind it.
Yeah, we need 4 plays that sum up how bad this team was.
The lowlights.
That'll be one of them.
That's on there.
That'll be one of them. But
also, I mean, maybe, letting Saquon Barkley walk.
Sure.
I don't know how you put that on there, but it's on there.
That you play that clip from Hard Knocks.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, but Connor, they're not the worst team in New York.
Here comes two.
Number 2.
Because that's the New York Jets.
Yeah.
An abject failure. They are running out of options / people to fire / friends of Aaron Rodgers to hire.
That's exactly right. That's the main point with them. There are very few cards left to play.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a tough time from now on convincing people that you actually are a good team that's masquerading as a team with a bad record. You're not. You can't do that anymore because you've already fired all the people.
Mm-hmm. Another stat that has been shared a ton over the weekend that has not been read on this show that I will pluck out and read for you all here right now. Connor, the New York Jets are the only team in history to score 20 points or more in a game, have 0 turnovers, and allow their opponent to gain fewer than 250 yards
and
lose the football game.
Ouch.
Until Sunday, teams with that combination were 750-0.
Ouch.
The New York Jets are bad, and Aaron Rodgers will take none of the blame.
Hey, man, they deserve to be on this list. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you included them. It's not just like a ceremonial,
No,
I hate them.
We're not laughing at the Jets anymore. This is a team that has earned their spot on the list. This isn't the Bengals like, they start 0-2. That's kind of weird. Or the Cowboys getting blown out in a solo window game. This is you're a bad football team.
Bad deal.
But they're not the worst team in the league.
This one's about another guy.
Yeah. Oh, boy. What do we do with this team?
Make it so, number 1.
Number 1.
The Tennessee Titans are getting worse. They're the worst team in the league this week. Now, they had to swap out the quarterback because Mayo Man is injured or dead or something. I don't know.
He's alive.
Mason Rudolph was their quarterback.
Yeah, did you see him run that thing in there and spike it?
Looking like Mike Vick out there.
He's finna be like Mike Vick.
Connor, the Titans trailed the Detroit Lions 35-14 at halftime. The Detroit Lions threw for 9 yards in the first half.
They threw the ball 15 times total in the game.
They had 61 passing yards by the end of the game.
Yeah. They actually did. The Lions, it's not like they got ran all over either. They just turned the ball over in their side of the field like every time they had it.
Yeah.
Ouch.
They just kept score update on the bottom because I'm an old man and I watch one game at a time.
Yeah, you sicko.
Score alert, the Lions have scored again. Score alert, the Lions have scored again. How?
That is the worst
12
team
seconds.
in the NFL. The Jets are making a run at it, though.
Good news for the Titans. If the season ended today, they would have the number 2 pick.
All right.
So sometimes the number 2 spot is kind of actually where you want to be.
Shador.
Because you can go anywhere. Whereas the team that's in number 1, and this is like mental gymnastics that I'm doing for the team that I root for, the number 1 team, like, okay, you have to take this person because we've ruled he's the best.
Or the pressure's on them, and they have all of the options. Sometimes less options are better.
Paradox of choice.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Quick couple things before we take a break here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Jameis Winston quote from Good Morning Football today. Quote, "You can't say the sky's the limit when people are on the moon." Our GOAT, Jameis Winston. Thank you for sending us that chance. I appreciate it. Also, a couple emails regarding Marcus Satterfield.
Just very quick on the Jameis thing.
Yeah.
Here is what is about to happen with Jameis Winston. People are going to start putting microphones in his face more because he's starting and he's not the backup anymore, but also because he is delivering you gold every single time out there.
Beautiful, beautiful man.
That's right.
What
are they saying about Sadie?
Okay, so just got 2 emails here immediately when we talked about that. But we got many comments and texts as well. But I'll go to the emails. Here's John. Satterfield is an abject moron.
Oh, no.
Straight and to the point. Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I didn't know. Subject line. I didn't know he could run like that. Body. Wait, what? So you're calling plays for players and you didn't know what their abilities are? Got it.
That was my takeaway from it, too.
we'll discuss that. There will be discussion. There will be discussion about that. That's this week's. That is this week's. 4 to 6 yards per play.
You've got to. Hey, Marcus,
just stop talking.
Let's do coach talk at that podium from now on.
Stop talking. Don't.
Yeah, it's great. The guy, all he wants to do is help the team. Next question.
Like I maybe he said it in jest. I haven't heard the quote yet. Last week, I took his. I'm like, hey, I get it. I know what he's doing, and I get it. I do get it. But you know how this is going to land. It's just not going to be good for you. In quotation,
right? It's not the end of the world. It's not the like, oh, you got to fire him today because he said that. Like, it's just you got to know how it's going to land.
Back after this with Jacob Bigelow on the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
He's heating up. That's the country song, right? Remember when?
Thank you,
Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Boom shakalaka.
All right. We are back on the Conor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We now welcome in our next guest, a special guest appearance from one Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated and Stretch Big Pod. Hi, Jacob. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, Hap. I'm good. This is a special appearance compared to my other 1 p.m. appearances on Tuesdays, but I guess this one is powered by unwavering faith and ultimate belief. So that's what's going to make this a special appearance, and we'll see where this goes.
Thank you, Jameis. Jameis Bigelow that could be fun. But I've asked Josh about this before, because what we're referencing is the pre-show tweet, where I've asked Josh about this before, and he said, "Don't pay attention to anything that I say about anybody in the pre-show tweet."
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to in a tweet form tell you who is on the show.
Why don't you just list the people?
Everybody lists it. I want the American public to go back to reading.
That's why you're trying to get America to read again.
That's right. 240 characters at a time.
So, Jacob, that's what's happening here. You're being used as an example for America to read again.
I am being used as an example. What a time! I have reached the point where I'm being used as an example. But I mean, hey, Dr. Seuss, producer Josh, handshake meme. The kids need to read. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the youth to read again.
He's the Dr. Seuss of our time. That is Josh Hodson. All right. Any thoughts on the Marcus Satterfield quote of the day, which is today? I didn't know that Dylan Raiola could run like that.
I'm gonna start calling these the no unreasonable reason quote of the week.
Nice.
No reasonable reason quote of the week. Be a common theme when we get coordinator availability. There's going to be one that sticks out above the rest. That is quite the doozy. When you inherit a 5-star quarterback. No, not inherit. But when one comes to your program, you're in charge of calling the plays for that player. You'd think you would want to be as familiar with his abilities and limitations as possible, because that is quite literally your job description. But if you don't know that he can run like that, then it took until game 8 for you to learn that of his freshman season, then your year has been an interesting one.
See, I'm not taking it like too literally. It's just we're in a situation right now where he probably can't say anything right. You know?
I was gonna say, I don't think anything he says at this moment with a microphone in front of his face is going to be reacted to rationally or like taken with context or with any sort of grain of salt. But I mean, between that and just calling scrambling ability cool, it was not a banner day at the Hawks facility for one of the two coordinators. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Football wise, in the last 4 games, do you trust Nebraska? Do you think we'll get something closer to what it was against Ohio State or closer to what it was against Indiana? Obviously, there's the giant chasm of space in between. What do you think we'll get in these next 4 games in terms of, like, I'm not even talking about a opponent like adjusted, just Nebraska internally. Which Nebraska will we get?
I would be getting paid a lot more money doing anything, but if I could put even close to a finger on what to expect from Nebraska in the next 4 games. As someone with a litany of trust issues, the last thing I'm willing to trust the Nebraska football program in any capacity, especially when it comes to results on the field. I think it's, obviously the cop-out answer is it's somewhere in the middle, but right now it's hard to say. It's hard to say anything but that right now. I think obviously we got quite the bounce back performance from the defense on Saturday against Ohio State. But I think that it's a credit to them, but I also had questions about Ohio State as well. It's a mixed bag, and that's everybody wants everything to be absolute and be a referendum and all that, but really most of the time the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's now the question is, if you get an average of that somewhere in the middle, then what's the record going to be, right? So if you can nail that down, then what do you feel like the other opponents are going to bring on the other direction as well? Like I don't know. Like I'll just ask you plainly. Record for the last 4 games, Jacob. What do you think?
2-2.
Okay, so that gets you to 7-5, and everybody's happy.
Happier. I don't know about definitively happy, but happier. I think a bowl game and not just being 6-6. I mean, I think there were I mean, it depends on how you get to 2-2, who you beat, who you lose to. But I mean, I think after Saturday, I think the final 3 trend more toward toss up than anything, because you trust Nebraska's defense's ability to stop the run, so that makes you feel good about Iowa. But the current state of this offense against Iowa's defense, that doesn't really make you feel great. So first team to 10 wins, maybe. It's just, I mean, then that's the last game of the season, and then I don't even really. I mean, talking about football teams that I don't know what they are. Wisconsin and USC. Those are 2 teams that are in the same neighborhood as Nebraska in terms of what the hell are they, and what should we think of them big picture?
Week by week, for sure, on basically everybody of the last 4 games. Even I mean, throw Iowa in that conversation as well. They have their own problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's bring your brooms, because it's a mess. The Big Ten outside of Oregon, Penn State, kind of Ohio State, and I guess Indiana. Bring your brooms, because it's a mess.
All right, basketball-wise, you got the exhibition on Sunday, Grand Valley State. Grand Valley State against Purdue is a huge game coming up this week. Also, we'll be closely watching the results of Texas Rio Grande Valley going forward as well, because we'd love to compare Nebraska and Creighton to each other. But on the topic of Nebraska in general, it was clunky. It didn't look easy for them on Sunday. Is there anything to be concerned about?
It was about exactly what I expected out of an exhibition game against the D2 for a still pretty brand new team. I mean, the guys who were returners looked like I expected them to look. Bryce Williams did Bryce Williams things, played downhill, a couple pull-ups, 1-3. Juwan Gary looked like himself, and then I think if I don't want to make any sweeping declarations based off of an inter-squad scrimmage in a volleyball arena and an exhibition game against the Division II team, but I mean, my biggest thing right now is if you don't have Raleigh Worcester stock, I would buy some. I would buy some at the moment. I think he's been a standout in both games. Nebraska hasn't had we've talked about point guard and true point guards with Nebraska as long as I can remember. Nebraska hasn't had as true of a true point guard as they do in Raleigh Worcester in quite some time, and I think there's a good chance he leaves Lincoln as a fan favorite at season's end, just based on how he plays, how he carries himself, and I'm sure we're going to hear plenty from him in the media. We heard from him on Sunday afternoon, but I'm not going to make any big sweeping declarations quite yet. Aside from that, if you don't have any Raleigh Worcester stock yet, I would buy some.
Okay. The seller of Raleigh Worcester stock. All right, exciting. This is a non-basketball related question, but it does have to do with the exhibition. What do you think is the excitement level for Nebraska basketball this year? And let's put this in context. They're coming off of an NCAA tournament appearance. They don't do that very often. And they had this exhibition, and I don't know, like, Nebraska's obviously very spoiled with great crowds, and they sell out basically every game. And I know they listed like 15,000 on the thing, but there was I don't know, like 1,000 people there on Sunday. I don't hear about them. I don't know. I don't hear the buzz very much about Nebraska basketball. Why is that?
Well, football season is still going on, and there's still plenty of discourse surrounding that. I mean, there is a diehard group of basketball fans, and I think they are out there. They are looking forward to this season. I don't think a Sunday exhibition game. I mean, when we could audibly hear Bryce Williams yell at Gavin Griffiths to dunk that bleep when he tried to go baseline on somebody from press row. That tells you what kind of crowd it was like on Sunday. But I mean, it's different. I mean, I think a part of it is it's cliche as it is, but the where's the returning guys? It's new guys every year. I got to get used to new faces, new players, and I mean, and this could also be another part of it too. I know a lot of people were enthralled with everything that was Keisei Tominaga, and now he is not on the team. And people may be in we had last year, but you got to prove it to me again, believe it when I see it. I mean, there's a lot of things at work, because pessimism and Nebraska athletic fandom goes hand in hand, no matter the team, really.
It's weird though, Jacob, because I always felt like you mentioned there's a group of people that is like definitely hardcore Nebraska basketball fans, and they're always like excited. But I always felt like you felt that a little bit more in the lead up to Nebraska's football team was better for the majority of the time that like Tim Miles was here. I always felt that there was some sort of a buildup to those seasons. The newness of the arena maybe like played a role in it. I don't know what it's just not really there right now. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing for the team. They could still be good, but I don't know. I just don't feel it.
Yeah, and I'd counter that with, compare the two head coaches. And I've spent a lot of time around one of them. He would gladly love to talk and tell you about his team.
He sure would.
And he would gladly do whatever it could to drum up enthusiasm. And Fred Hoiberg is more low-key. He's a low-key guy. He's going to show a quiet confidence when he's in front of a microphone, but he's not going to go in full PR, salesman mode when he's, out and about. I think it's and I think his players have taken after him. They're a quiet, confident group. They're not boisterous. They're not you're not going to be run their mouths in front of microphones or on social media. They're just kind of like if you don't believe in us, watch us play. That's kind of what it the mantra has felt like this entire offseason. So
yeah,
it might have to do with the guy in charge as well.
Yeah, no, I think that probably has something to do with it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I've noticed a shift definitely in the preseason. All right, so we'll see. It starts next Monday. A little double dip. There's people forget women's basketball against UNO at noon. If you want to hang out with 4,000 screaming children who don't know what they're looking at, join us next Monday at noon at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It'll be fun. I assume you'll be there, Jacob, right?
I don't think I will be there in the afternoon, unfortunately, but I will be there in the evening for part one of UTRGV week around here. It'll be the UTRGV day in Lincoln on Monday and UTRGV day in Omaha on Wednesday. They're gonna make the most of their trip to the great state of Nebraska.
Yeah, many people will be counting how many points. We'll have to have the whole discussion again. Is 39-40 or is 49-50? Both on Monday and Wednesday, probably up next week. Jacob, appreciate the time as always, my friend. We'll let you go, and we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, sounds good. Thanks, Hap. Appreciate the time like always. Have a good rest of the week.
Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated and of the Stretch Big Pod. It's almost Bigelow time.
Yeah. Out on women, though. That's
tough.
An odd take from Jacob.
Well, you're the one who just called yourself the next Dr. Seuss. Problematic much?
Look, 6 books out of 1,000. Pretty good batting percentage. I'll ride with Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, they get you in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's the non-hits that ruin you.
That really ring the loudest.
Charles has a couple comments.
Hi, Charles.
Handing out candy on Halloween is overrated. Why contribute to the obesity problem in this country? Kids need pencils and bookmarks. To which Josh said, yes, bookmarks. Read.
Hand out books. Read. My kid's gotten really into bookmarks lately. He thinks they're neat, and I don't know why.
Hey, we all had a time with bookmarks. Yeah. Poll question.
Did you have a time with bookmarks?
Did you have a time where yeah, sure. Did you have a time with bookmarks? Did you have a time where you became infatuated with bookmarks? Whatever it might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was into Were you ever into bookmarks?
Okay.
That's it. That's the poll question. Workshop. Quick news item before we take a break here. Nebraska baseball has added a commit. Why would I talk about this?
Oh, because
why would
we not talk about this?
I have never brought up a Nebraska baseball commit before in my life. But But in this case, it has extenuating circumstances. It's his name.
Listen up, everybody.
He goes to Papillion La Vista South right now. He's a 2026 recruit, so he's a junior in high school. And his name is Cordell Clinkingbeard. We're back.
Good name.
We got Cordell Clinkingbeard. Hello.
God, it popped right up.
We to the Clinkingbeard family in Papillion. Why have we not heard about this before? I've never got any sort of correspondences from anybody named Clinkingbeard.
Like just superstar written all over him.
We need to be in the high school baseball community more around here, because I need to know about these things if they happen. I need to know about any Cordell Clinkingbeards before they hit the mainstream.
Yeah.
We need to be on the forefront of this.
Well, I really would like to be on the cutting edge of this.
Jack John writes in about Nebraska ball.
Hi, Jack John.
And its excitement. Nebraska ball fans haven't gone anywhere. I just think the buzz surrounding football was so great this season with young Dylon that it's taking longer. I don't know, Jack John. I don't know. I've felt this for a couple years on end now.
We're not turning the calendar as quickly now.
I think Jacob hit it. Like, I think it's a Fred thing. We like Fred, but Fred is boring.
There is something to that.
Fred's a good coach,
yeah.
but he doesn't, like, he's not going to, partly because I don't think he knows either. He's not going to go out of his way and be like, hey, come watch this team. They're good. You'll like them, you know, because I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. It's still a puzzle that has to fit together. Like, and that's why they have crap ass non-conference schedules where they play nobody, because they're trying to figure out the whole thing the whole way. Right?
I think I think that's got to be it.
I don't think I don't think they've gone anywhere. It's just there's no buzz.
Yeah. They'll get there. They'll build it over many, many months.
Yeah. It's specifically designed so that you don't pay attention until December. Done, and done. All right, we're back after this. I have a quick reminder for you first, though. You've heard many things about the Swedish rock band Ghost. Josh,
Definitely have.
If you've listened on Sportsman Conduct in the afternoon, they have tickets this week to win them before you can buy them, because they're coming to town next August at the Chai. Next August. We have tickets.
A perfectly good music venue.
We have tickets before you can even buy them. Unsportsmanlike Conduct does. So you need to listen to them all week. The tickets go on sale this Friday. So there's something to the early access about this. More details, of course, you can find on our website, 1620thezone.com. This time, do we talk about that Kalen Clark thing? Or
this could be the spot.
Do we talk about Big Justice, AJ, and the Rizzler going on Jimmy Fallon last night?
Well, look, as the producer of this show and the director of audio, I need clicks. I need tune-ins. I need people gravitating towards this show, and that means we got to do what the children are doing. And that means we need to talk about this big swizzle stick or whatever his name is.
His name is the Rizzler, and we're talking about the Costco guys. All right.
Yes.
Double chunk chocolate cookie.
I know
and
of those two.
The chicken bakes and the chicken bakes.
Chicken bakes. You're quote. I can tell you're quoting things.
I am.
You're quoting TikToks, right?
Generally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
okay.
TikToks. They have songs. They have songs. They wrote songs about themselves. Wow. Have you seen the college football players do the dances?
Oh, maybe.
Quinn did it. Your favorite college football player. Quinn scored a touchdown.
Quinn's gonna win a natty, and I'm gonna have to be like, crap.
And he's not.
I don't.
And did the Costco guys dance? Whatever that is.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's a good one.
I don't.
People are doing it.
The destroying was at the Iowa Western game a few weeks ago.
Oh,
video just dropped. He was the UCF kicker that was making money playing video
games. How dare
he?
Could you imagine?
And they were like, "You need to pick one," and he said, "Well, I'm going to choose the money. Goodbye."
That's right.
Yeah,
that was the original. Like,
it was kind of the breaking point.
He was maybe like the first YouTuber I had ever heard of.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? You're going to quit and do YouTube?
Yeah,
and you wouldn't rather be a college athlete who plays for the love of the game?
Yeah,
and he's like, no, I'd rather make money on YouTube. I'm like, how do you make money on YouTube? That was me several years ago. Now it is not me. That is a different time.
Those are the questions being asked in our building right now.
Money on YouTube, baby.
Connor asked them 7 years ago. Interesting.
Sometimes it just takes some time.
Sure.
Sometimes it just takes some time.
We'll get there. It's not a race.
No, let's talk about tiebreakers. Like toilets, but tiebreakers. Have you heard the news that every major conference is headed for a horrible train wreck of a tiebreaker right now?
I have heard John Bishop's theories on this. Yes.
Well, to echo John Bishop's thought, me and John see eye to eye on several issues in college basketball or college football, college athletics in general. So, remember when we decided that divisions were bad? Why did we decide that? Why did we decide that, Josh?
I didn't quite understand. I mean, I guess people were tired of Ohio State steamrolling generic Big Ten West team.
I guess that's what we were sick of.
Because
story today,
because we certainly weren't sick of like, hey, Georgia, Alabama, SEC championship game.
Well, here's the thing: it is created. I mean, we also have mega, super, gigantic conferences now. There was a stat in Chris Vanini's article on The Athletic today about how we're just barreling down the path of horrible tiebreakers. Did you know that Texas A&M and Georgia have played each other one time in 12 years? They're in the same conference. Did you know that Texas A&M has never hosted Georgia as a member of as when both have been members of the SEC?
So I didn't know this until you brought it up to me this morning, and we looked up the Winsipedia between these two teams.
Yeah. They're in the same. They've been in the same conference for more than a decade.
Yeah, for quite a while. They're 3-3 against each other all time.
Yeah, and only one time is in the last 12 years when they've been in the same conference.
Texas
A&M.
A&M.
They played 4 times when they weren't in the same conference.
Texas A&M beat Georgia in 1954 when Bear Bryant was the coach of the Aggies, and somebody named Wallace Butts was the coach of Georgia.
It had to be Wallace Butts. Here's Chris Vanini.
Hi, Chris.
When college sports' most recent round of football-driven conference realignment began more than 3 years ago, it came with a promise of more blockbuster games, higher television ratings, and new, fresh rivalries. What no one seemed to fully appreciate at the time, I highlight no one because of what's about to happen. What no one seemed to fully appreciate at the time was that expanding conferences, along with the scrapping of divisions, had created major problems for their standings in championship game races. No one saw that. No one.
Oh, come on.
Now college football is careening toward a potential tiebreaker nightmare in November. The uncertainty and closeness of bloated conference races will be a lot of fun until it's a problem. Clemson, Miami, and SMU are at least 7-1 overall, undefeated in ACC play, and not scheduled to play each other. We could have a three-way tie at the top of the ACC. Actually, we're headed that direction, probably. In the Big Ten, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana are all undefeated and don't play each other. The SEC has 5 teams with 1 or 0 conference losses, and the Big 12 has 4. Not everyone in those 2 log jams play each other. It may work itself out in the end, he writes, but the possibility that it doesn't is very real. How could a conference defend itself if a team undefeated in the league didn't make its title game? Whether undefeated or not, it's likely some tie-breaking scenario is going to upset one or more fan bases, especially because those conference championships determine which 4 teams earn buys the playoffs.
So I'm super interested in like the weird tiebreakers where it's like your common opponent,
winning percentage, whatever.
Oh man, Georgia didn't make the SEC championship game because Florida, their arch rival, sucks.
That's right.
Like, oh wow, we got to screw them over twice.
You want to know how to fix this? Divisions.
Interesting.
Or pods.
Theory.
Remember how everybody was obsessed with the whole pods thing?
I thought we were moving to pods.
I thought we were doing pods.
But I guess to expand, we have to contract first or something. I don't know.
We do seem to, I mean, to that point, Josh, we do seem to be in some sort of a halfway limbo mode right now in terms of how this is going to work going forward.
Let's bring everyone together and then we'll finalize the realignment and then
it's the idea that, okay, so we've created the thing that we agreed upon when we redid the playoff. We went from 4 to 12 with the playoff was that we needed parameters, right? Like we needed targets. If you win your conference and you're a power conference, likely you get a bye and you're in. Done. Mission accomplished.
Boom.
Right? And then you have more at-larges. What we did as a result of that is we changed, people change conferences, that we have these mega conferences, and then we took away parameters at the conference level, right? It used to be if you make your conference, in order to make your conference championship game, you have to win your division. Now it's just you have to have the best record. And what's the best record if everybody else is tied? Well, it's based off of some ridiculous tiebreaker that is 4th on the list. We're not going to get all the way to the coin flip thing. It would be funny if we did. But we're going to go way down the list, and we're going to have to figure out, it's going to be a math equation to figure out who gets into these conference championship games. And I have a national media person named Chris Vaniti, it's not just him, by the way, who's currently telling me that no one saw this coming. What a liar. What a liar.
Now, I don't remember your stance on the issue. I mean, John was upset at the last batch of tiebreaker scenario, like last season, before all the, I don't know if you remember, this is the most different season of college football in our
it's very new. It's very different.
But John was upset about this years before this.
I mean, I've always been a proponent of divisions or some form of organizing the teams rather than having 18 teams on a pile. It just makes it easy. It just makes it easier.
Legends and leaders.
That's fine. Great. Do whatever you want. Legends and leaders, East, West, Central, Rust Belt, East, whatever you want to do, however you want to split them up, give us parameters. If we're already barreling toward the NFL model, it becomes pretty easy. Like, split them into divisions. If you win your division, you get an automatic spot in the playoffs and you get to host a playoff game. Done.
Seems very simple.
But alas, It is giant crapshoot. Is this all with the attempt to try and get a fun and cool conference championship game? Will this even accomplish that? If we have to go down to the 7th item on the tiebreaker list, it might not. Because look at the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the Big 12 is the best example of this right now. Buff Josh and I, because we were going through some of the tiebreaker or we were going through the Big 12 standings right now earlier this morning because he's obsessed with the Buffs. And
BYU and Iowa State are undefeated. They don't play each other, right?
Correct. Kansas State is still hanging in there, but K-State and Iowa State play each other. Colorado has one league loss at this point. They only play. They don't have a tricky schedule coming up. Like they can take care of business, but they need BYU or Iowa State to drop a game. But even if they do drop a game, nobody knows what happens.
Like the game Iowa State drops can't be to Kansas State, because that doesn't really help Colorado all that much.
Well, I mean, we're talking about 2 open spots, though, if both BYU and Iowa State lose.
Right.
So it's a mess.
Very messy.
And it's going to continue to be a mess. In the Big Ten, Indiana and Oregon and Penn State are all undefeated, but Ohio State plays both Penn State and Indiana coming down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon is probably trending for a spot in the conference championship game at this point. Their remaining schedule is Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington. So they're probably, but if they lose a game, chaos abound.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten. Chaos all over the place.
I'd like to see how it plays out over multiple years, but it seems like
start, maybe.
It seems like one of those conferences is going to get weird more than likely.
Yeah, indeed it was, Josh.
Indeed it was.
Indeed it was. We're back after this with the polls, and we'll tell you what to watch on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Conor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, to the polls at Happer Show on the J Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I had a bunch today. Check on some results from yesterday. Do you feel better? Ended up 73% no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yep. All right, first one from today. Is Austin Wells a quap?
Absolutely. Yeah. Look at that guy. I know
the
a cop.
Mustache. 61% say yes. Were you a chins guy? I was for a little while. Yeah. 69% say no.
Nice.
They were not into the chins. Is Dylan Raiola finna be like Michael Vick?
Most voted on poll question of the day.
No, he is not.
Probably not.
61% say no.
In so many different ways.
Is producer Josh the Dr. Seuss of our time?
I like to think of myself as yes.
70% say yes.
Hell yeah.
70% say yes.
Overwhelming majority say yes.
Were you ever into bookmarks?
You know, if you didn't have a lot of money as a kid, you couldn't afford books at the Scholastic Book Fair, you got some bookmarks, yeah.
Or you didn't really care about the books, you really just cared about the bookmarks.
Yeah, or you just wanted that Lamborghini poster.
Yeah. You had read all the Captain Underpants books already.
Right.
I just want the bookmark.
What do you mean R.L. Stine hasn't cranked out another banger? Give me a bookmark.
Where is the this is probably late for you, Josh. The next edition of the series of unfortunate events books.
The Lemony Snickets.
The Lemony Snickets, yes. 60% say yes, they were into bookmarks at one point.
Hell yeah. It's okay to admit it.
And finally, did it have to be Wallace Butts? What was Wallace Butts again? This happened like 5 minutes ago.
He was a former Georgia head coach who lost to Texas A&M and Bear Bryant.
Had to be Wallace Butts. 75% say yes. Wow. Those are the polls. Josh, what are we watching today?
We are watching the last baseball game of the season. Maybe.
Oh.
Dodgers.
Are you calling it?
I kind of am.
I think gentleman's sweep.
Okay. Seems likely with the pitching scenario tonight.
The Dodgers have
They've won the bullpen games before.
I think we'll know after about the second inning.
Yeah.
There's a chance that the Dodgers are up 4-0 right out of the gate, and then it's just over.
Tonight's pitching matchup, Dodgers Yankees in the Bronx, 7:00 on Fox. Dodgers are up 3-0. Pitching matchup, TBD versus GIL. Whatever those things mean.
That's Heel. His name is Heel.
It says
TBD is to be determined.
Yes, of course.
And then Mr. I forget his first name. Heel. Luis Heel. Yes.
Your anthem performer tonight is Ashanti.
Yeah, tell me who's throwing out that first pitch.
Hate to say I told you so, but it's Paul O'Neill.
I knew they could get Paul O'Neill. He's got to be doing some work for right?
He was during COVID, I remember.
He's on there.
He had some takes. I don't see an on-field performer.
Interesting.
Which means maybe we've scrapped that kind of stupid idea.
Well, I think that was probably just, game one at each location.
Right. Makes sense. College football got a trio of games. 6:00 CBS Sports Network, New Mexico State at Pitbull Stadium to take on Florida International.
Didn't Ice Cube perform at game 2?
I think he did. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
everybody gets
out
one.
the window.
Everybody gets one.
Pitbull Stadium.
6:30 ESPN2. Let me go through my abbreviations here. Louisiana takes on Texas State.
All right.
7:00 ESPNU. Louisiana Tech takes on Sam Houston State.
Sam Houston State. They're always playing on
Tuesdays. NBA,
1 week till Maction, I heard.
Oh, yeah. Get ready for people to pretend to love Maction. TNT doubleheader tonight in the NBA. 6:30 start in Minnesota as the Wolves host the Mavericks. Pelicans Warriors, your 9:00 game. Hockey doubleheader on ESPN. Rangers Capitals at 6:30, followed by Kings and Sharks and out west. And finally, Connor, on Netflix tonight. Pop some popcorn, sit down with your loved ones.
Tommy Boy?
Well, no. I believe that's on Paramount Plus right now. Olivia Rodrigo, the Guts World Tour, not the Nickelodeon game show. In this concert special, Olivia Rodrigo performs songs, and I will read these as they are written, from Guts and Sour from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles.
That's how she writes her album. That's what they're called.
It's all caps.
That's what they're called.
The kids are just shouting now.
That's some kids aren't. They're saying things very quietly. There's no capitalization and punctuation.
That's right. Taylor Swift had an whole album without any capitalization whatsoever. Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo has zagged. She's got some good songs.
No, I'm Team Olivia Rodrigo. I'm in. I really liked Guts, but I didn't so much like. No. What? The first one is Sour, and then the other one is Guts. Yeah. I liked Sour, but not so much Guts.
From the Intuit Dome in LA, which opened like 4 days ago.
Wow.
Or something. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. All right. Way to go, Olivia Rodrigo.
Quick turnaround.
She got a movie about her already. Yeah. All right. Happer's Beam Guy writes in, if you watch more than 10 real-time minutes of any of those college football games tonight, you belong on a watch list.
Oh, wow.
Take. What a take.
A fine take.
That's what we're watching tonight. If you missed anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. Time for the crossover. It's next.
Crossover. Oh, killer.